if you're admitting that you look like Ghislaine Maxwell in those DMs, well, you're gonna have to do a lot of work to disprove or to shake that impression now. If you're even acknowledging that you look that way in those DMs.
You can...
Only Destiny can see into Destiny's apartment, especially in the past, using recording devices. But your disagreement with me here is you're not being hard enough on Erudite, isn't it? It's fine to be like that, but you have to offer an honest and a accurate condemnation of a behavior that falls outside of your stated values. And Erudite refuses constantly to do this. It is all just, Destiny's just a poor traumatized little guy. No, he is engaged in disgusting behavior. So that is absolutely Erudite trying to talk Pixie down from punishment. Not just from money, not just saying she can't handle money, she's trying to talk her down from punishment.
Is that I'm like going out of my way to like gaslight a girl, manipulate her, and to convince her to not go public, and like to do Steven's dirty work. Even like, shout out to like Kuihman, even though we kind of hate each other.
He
had like...
I accept credit. It's like, I know, I am a really good person, Erudite. I know. I'm such a good person. Even to my enemies, even to people I hate. Even to people I hate, I do not cross certain lines. I know, I'm such a good person. I'm merciful, I'm gracious. Gracious in victory too, most of all. Very gracious in victory, I will say. Okay, guys. We're gonna cover NotSoErudite. We've got the Turkey Tom NotSoErudite video to go over. So... and also the H3 covering Destiny and all this stuff. So just in Chud talking about Sunday in Spicy Chat, and
about those leaks.
Yeah, I want to be mad at Sunday. I want to complain about the video because it was kind of a video, and he did do something bad. But
so the same day that the
it's just really difficult to argue with the results, and I just kind of Destiny was willing to over innocent third parties in pursuit of hurting Sunday. Sunday's happy to over innocent third parties in pursuit of hurting Destiny. Sunday was the underdog. Sunday really should have lost, but he didn't. And that's kind of awesome. You have to respect that in some ways. You really have to respect that. He did really over Pixie. I mean, I don't know what people expected. Okay. Anyway, let's watch his Erudite. Let's watch his Erudite. So, Turkey Tom did a stream about the Destiny stuff, and in the course of this Destiny stream, when he was watching the Sunday video, he basically said, Destiny and Erudite. Awesome, Rao. That sounds epic. That's what Tom said. And I think Erudite got upset about this. Erudite's very upset about the presentation of her sweeping. And so she gave Tom a private call where he has interviewed her, and it's been released. So we're going to see what we think. We're going to give Erudite a little bit of a charity. We're going to let her explain herself. See if we believe it. See how we feel about her explanation here. We're going to try.
The Destiny allegation stuff initially went public. I got reached out to by Erudite, NotSoErudite, or Kyla. She's Destiny's co-host of the Bridges podcast. She has a business with him, and she also was seen in the DMs interacting with Pixie, the alleged victim of the allegations. And basically, she wanted to talk to me about her position based on the fact that there had been a lot of DMs leaked where it looked like she was kind of trying to at least from my perspective, initially cover for Destiny and maybe help him out and quell the situation from going public. So she wanted to talk to me about that. And this video is that interview where we talk about it. We go into the DMs. We talk about her perspective and her intentions. And I questioned her a little bit on a variety of things regarding the situation. So I think the interview will mostly speak for itself as far as whatever people want to come to conclusions on. But yeah, without further ado, this is the Erudite interview. She personally said, "Hey, I saw a video where you said Destiny Erudite. I can understand how you came to that conclusion from the information that's available and the framing that's going on. If you're open to hearing me out, I'm down to talk to you about it in private. I'm also comfortable with you recording it and using that for content. I like you, and I think you're one of the few unbiased and responsible commentary YouTubers. So I feel like you might be open to getting my side with extra context and information."
Tom, unbiased and responsible. Yeah, I would not even... That is the most obvious glaze in the world. You are the only unbiased and responsible commentary YouTubers. You mean you are the commentary YouTubers that sucks off Destiny the most? Literally get shit wrong in every fucking video. I don't think there is a single video I've seen of Turkey Tom's recently where there are massive factual errors.
So, we're going to be doing that. No word from Big D, but this is, I guess, the best we're going to get for now. I think he said he wouldn't be talking about this stuff pending certain legal action, so we'll talk to her about it. We'll see what she has to say. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be bad. Hello?
I mean, I said as much to Turkey Tom. I spoke to him the other day. I said that I've had issues with his videos recently. But, and it's obvious, like, he swept for Destiny. He has swept for Destiny. I said this to him, again. He swept for Destiny. He deliberately did not include many things, or not, maybe not deliberately, but he did not include many things when he spoke about Destiny before that would be total disqualifiers based on his stated beliefs. Based on the things he goes after other people for, Destiny would absolutely fall foul of Turkey Tom's standards long ago. Not just this week, not just this past 3 months, but the past 10 years, 15 years. He's been against Turkey Tom's standards. Since before Destiny broke the rules that Turkey Tom believes in, before Turkey Tom even started doing YouTube. So, the idea that when you make a Destiny documentary, you don't include any of that stuff is pretty obscene. It's pretty fucking obscene.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing all right. How are you?
And one HP voice. Hey, how's it going? Hey, Tom. How's it going, Tom?
It's been a day.
It's been a
long
day.
Yeah,
long
just
day.
to let you know, I'm recording already, in case there was any question, just so it's totally clear. So yeah, what did you wanna talk about the Steve stuff that's going on?
Yeah, I figured I wanted to reach out to you, as I said, just because I think you're probably gonna be the most fair, but it also seems like so I'm only really gonna speak probably to my side, and then if you have questions, I'll answer what I can. And I guess like the main thing for me is it's when people are looking at the texts that I'm sending back and forth with Pixie, they're getting like a very clip-chimped version of the exchange. Just so you are aware, I've talked to Pixie about an hour and let her know that I was talking to you just to get consent. So I asked her basically if I could give you DMs to basically be like, the way I'm getting painted here is like really, really far from the truth, and I don't really know why.
Well, explain how.
You look like Ghislaine Maxwell.
I know.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'll maybe start with like the first. So I called Pixie and she immediately was like, I'm so sorry. And just so it's clear.
She just acknowledges that, yeah, I do look like Ghislaine Maxwell in those DMs. You're right. Okay. Well, now you've got a disparate... If you're admitting that you look like Ghislaine Maxwell in those DMs, well, you're going to have to do a lot of work to disprove or to shake that impression now. If you're even acknowledging that you look that way in those DMs.
You can text her as well if you want, like on Discord, and confirm like everything you want with her. Like I'm not like she's totally fine with it. She mostly just feels really bad about this. So this was the text that she sent me today, just so you have an idea of like where I'm coming from and that she is like agreeing. She knows that I'm sending you these texts. The only thing is that if there's receipts that you want to ask for, I'm happy to give them. I just want to make sure that I send them to her as well, because I feel like it's like the one thing that hasn't happened in this whole situation is like her consent being included. So
yeah, it's her story, of course. Yeah.
So I just want you to be clear that like I'm being very intentional about that. And if there's things that I don't answer, I apologize. There's just
so I can show this text you're sending.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me see here. So this says, let's see here. Hey, I'm still worried for you. Are you okay no matter what? Please never hesitate to reach out. She says, hi, Kyla. I'm sorry for not getting back to you earlier. I've just been really overwhelmed with the situation. I didn't consent to President Sunday receiving those messages at all. I feel like they painted both of us in a really bad and untrue light. I really appreciate that you care so much about me and have been checking on me so often, just asking if I'm okay. I don't think you'd go that far if you didn't care. I feel really guilty and bad because I didn't expect things to get leaked like this at all. Okay. So...
Okay, Pixie, I do not give a fuck what Pixie thinks about Erudite, right? I do not trust Pixie's judge of character for very fucking obvious reasons. I do not trust Pixie's impression of the interaction she's had with Erudite. Like, I don't give a fuck if Pixie says, I think you really care. I think Erudite really cares about me. I don't give a fuck. That is completely irrelevant to me. We have a pattern of when people accuse Destiny, Erudite goes and starts trying to befriend them. Mr. Girl posted a clip yesterday, a 12-minute interview excerpt from 2022, where they're saying, "Oh yeah, I just really wanted to help Lav because I saw really bad coping mechanisms in her. I thought it would help her with her interactions with other people." You mean her interactions with Destiny? You wanted to make Lav easier for Destiny to deal with. The idea that she doesn't just act as a tendril of Destiny is fucking insane. Where's the mind reading? Jacob B, feel free to join the Discord, discord.gg/Kuihman, if you'll come and defend Erudite. Where's the mind reading? I'm just describing actions. So there was a 12-minute video posted yesterday where Erudite admitted to going and trying to befriend Lav to try and help her with coping mechanisms because she didn't want Lav to struggle with other people so much. Went and spoke to Anna too. Maybe just, if someone's accusing your boss, don't get involved. Why are you going and trying to befriend the alleged victims? Every time. It's just like absurd. Like, what is your motivation here?
Oh, I guess you're just showing here that you guys are on good terms, basically. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I guess the biggest question for me would be from the DMs, and I did prepare. I pulled up a bunch of them, so we can kind of, if you don't mind, we can go through them.
Yeah,
in a moment here,
that'll be perfect. I can kind of show you the context around the DMs that you have as well.
Okay, perfect. So the biggest thing for me.
Content's been great. Quick question, do you think any of this give more credibility to Merck's claims?
You know, if we're gonna go, if I'm totally unchained, okay, not only do I emotionally, obviously I don't know what truly happened there. I can't see into fucking Destiny's apartment. Only Destiny can see into Destiny's apartment, especially in the past, using recording devices. Now, I can't see into Destiny's apartment, so I don't know what happened between him and Merck. However, Destiny described, or well, Merck described that after Destiny made a move on her, it seemed like Destiny switched up and suddenly hated her. Suddenly was, you know, not interested in pursuing a friendship with her anymore. Now, I kind of believe her on that. I kind of see that reading. I don't, not 100%. But what it did make me think about around that time that I didn't bring up because I knew I would, it was a landmine to bring it up to this person. A total landmine to say about around this person. But I think, I seem to remember feeling as though Destiny really kind of switched up on Kelly Jean right after his last trip to the UK. That's how I always felt, is that they had he went to the UK, he went to that thing with, was it Slavoj Žižek? He met up with Kelly, they went to his hotel room, they didn't sleep together, Kelly left some ADHD medicine for him there. And I remember there being an interaction on stream where it was kind of cold, and Kelly was like, "Oh, did you ever take that ADHD medicine I left you?" And Destiny was like, "No, I don't think so. I probably just went through customs with it or some shit like that." But it was a kind of cold, terse interaction. And then every interaction with Destiny past that seemed to be more and more and more hostile. Now, I didn't say anything about this to Kelly because obviously she was completely brainwashed. I think pretty obviously so, and would just defend Destiny. Well, no, I don't think it was anything like that, so I didn't say anything at the time. But my schizo headcanon, that is absolutely what was going on, okay?
Is that it looks like you're essentially playing mediator for Destiny so that he doesn't have to directly talk to the alleged victim. It looks like that's what's happening here. You're playing mediator. You're trying to diminish consequences for him and diminish sort of culpability for him by not having him have to admit anything outright in a DM in regards to what happened in the situation. The situation being that it seems to be the case, at least, that he essentially got an explicit video of them together and then sent that to someone without her consent. To your knowledge, is that true? Did he do that?
So I'm also, just to be clear, I already told Destiny that this is what I was going to say to you as well. So everyone's just like fully consented, and I can again show you all the DMs of me letting him know that this was what I was going to be saying. When I confronted him in Miami in like early December, when I went down in person, because I wanted to talk to him in person, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I asked him, "Did she know you were recording? And did she consent to it?" He said that she did know about the recording, like she's aware, she did consented to the actual filming of it, but he said specifically, probably not. Like it was 3 years ago. I don't remember specifically, and like things were open like this, but yeah, probably not. I didn't get like explicit consent. And I said, Stephen, that's really fucked up. Like that's not okay. And so just to be clear, he would say, I didn't completely say, but I read that very strongly as him acknowledging that.
Dude.
Said specifically, probably not. Like
probably
it was 3
not.
years ago. I don't remember specifically, and like things were open like this, but yeah, probably not. I didn't get like explicit consent. And I said, Stephen, that's really fucked up. Like that's not okay. And so just to be clear, he would say, I didn't completely say, but I read that very strongly as him acknowledging that he did not have consent to give it.
Right. Okay. I guess the biggest question from there would be, once you had that conversation with him, and that was, you said December of
early
year?
December. Yeah.
2024?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys had that conversation. How did things develop from there?
Yeah, so
she's known for ages. So all that time where she was like saying that, oh, Destiny's just got a lot of trauma. Destiny's just a poor, traumatized. He's just like, there's just like a little boy inside of him that just comes out, and he's got so much trauma. A poor, traumatized little boy in him that just comes out and hurts the people around him. He's actually a really, really good person. She knew the whole time. She knew the whole time. Okay.
I was notified. So when the leaks happened, I was having like a community event. So I wasn't actually aware of the leaks until I think just like honestly, like a random person messaged me being like, have you seen this? And I was like, no. I still actually haven't looked at the leaks. I have like personally just a policy about never looking at like leaked nudes and stuff. But that's back. So this is back before I talked to Destiny or Pixie. That's when I reached out to StraighterAid because I was hearing that it might be Pixie. And I figured if it was her, I was also hearing that she's saying it wasn't her. And so I was like, if it was or wasn't her, I don't really want to put her on the hot seat with like me talking to her and making her feel confronted. So I'm just going to like check and see, because to me, if he didn't even have consent to record the video, then this is a whole different ballgame. Like it's a whole different plan of action of like how I am going to process what's going on.
Okay, yeah, let's hear that.
But to your knowledge, you did have consent to record, just not to share it.
Yeah, or at least.
So now that it's come out, the Destiny has incredibly likely, I am kind of willing to say almost definitely. Dude, I am so confident that Destiny has recorded people without consent. I am so confident. Based on the allegations, based on the stuff I know, I am so incredibly confident Destiny records people in sexual situations without their knowledge or consent. I'm like 99.999. There's like the tiniest bit. I have seen the Baby Peach DMs. Yes, I have seen the Baby Peach DMs. And I will be pulling them up later. So now this is a whole different ball game, right? So Erudite said it'd be a whole different plan of action if he recorded people without consent. So let's hear what she says about
talking to her and making her feel confronted. So I'm just going to like check and see, because to me, if he didn't even have consent to record the video, then
okay, to be fair, didn't NotSoErudite say like glazing shit way before December 1st, 2024? Nope. Erudite said a bunch of glazing shit around, what was it? It would have been like the 20th of December when she put all those videos out. She put all those videos out just before Christmas and did that AMA stream. And that was around like the 20th of December because my videos went out on like Christmas Eve and Boxing Day and shit. So no. Actually, she had known for like 3 weeks that Destiny was a revenge pornographer.
Whole different ballgame. Like it's a whole different plan of action of like how I am going to process what's going on.
Right. But to your knowledge, you did have consent to record, just not to share it.
Yeah, or at least consent to have it. I don't know if he recorded it or she recorded it and sent it to him. I'm not actually familiar with like how the video was made. But yeah, it sounds like the consent, he had consent to have the nude in the sex tape, but not to send it out. That's what Aaron said to me. And I was like, okay, well, thank fuck he didn't record somebody without
Aaron
them even
is
knowing.
StraighterAid?
Yes, Aaron is StraighterAid, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So you found that out. Sorry,
I texted Pixie. Yeah, so after that I texted Pixie. So for context, Pixie and I have been friends for like well over a year. Like we're not just two orbiters. but we worked in PV together. When I'm in Miami, I hang out with her all the time, independent of Steven. Like, we have our own friendship. We've been good friends for at least a year. So as soon as Aaron confirmed to me what was going on, I was like, okay, now I feel comfortable like checking in with her and seeing how she's doing. Texted her, and she basically like immediately told me like everything that was going on. And I was like, okay, holy shit. I believe let me just check because I don't want to give you wrong information. I believe we've called a bunch because I checked in on her a bunch as well. It was all over text. Yeah, it was not on Discord. It was all over text. Okay. So December 12th, I texted her and I was like, hey. She was like, hi. And I said, do you want to chat or just have a friend? I'm really worried about you.
Yeah,
she
this
responds.
Is once you found out about the stuff that was going on with the videos of her being public.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I reach out. I don't know. You don't probably need me to read everything, but basically she tells me that she's feeling a little bit suicidal, but she's not planning to kill herself immediately. And she's like trying to figure out like what to do about this situation. I respond, that tells me everything. I'm really sorry. I won't begin to tell you. I understand because I don't, but I do care. And I do want to.
Are you joking? Did you see the high school shooter from today named Turkey Tom and Destiny in his manifesto? What? 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 Mention them how? What did he say about them? What was said about them?
I believe let me just check because I don't want to give you wrong information. I believe we've called a bunch because I checked in on her a bunch as well. It was all over text. Yeah, it was not on Discord. It was all over text. Okay. So December 12th, I texted her. And I was like,
oh, they're one of these. Okay. They're one of these. Yeah, I see what's going on there. Yeah, it's all like those fucking cult troll groups, right? Yeah.
Like, hey. She was like, hi. And I said, do you want to chat or just have a friend? I'm really worried about you.
Yeah,
she
this
responds.
Is once you found out about the stuff that was going on with the videos of her being public.
There's like all those cult troll groups where they fucking extort teenagers and blackmail them into cutting themselves and all this shit. It's like, it's one of those, okay? BX Bullet actually has great videos about all this stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So I reach out. I don't know. You don't probably need me to read everything, but basically she tells me that she's feeling a little bit suicidal, but she's not planning to kill herself immediately. And she's like trying to figure out like what to do about this situation. I respond, that tells me everything. I'm really sorry. I won't begin to tell you. I understand because I don't, but I do care. And I do want to.
She's a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but her stuff about those, like Discord fucking troll groups and shit is actually really good. I watched it and I was like fact checking it. I was like ready to be like, wow, BX Bullet is a complete retard and this is crazy talk. But no, she's actually pretty good with it, to be honest.
That she's feeling a little bit suicidal, but she's not planning to kill herself immediately. And she's like trying to figure out like what to do about this situation. I respond, that tells me everything. I'm really sorry. I won't begin to tell you. I understand because I don't, but I do care. And I do want to see you safe and find peace. Do you mind if I ask to spend some time with you? She said, yes. We make a plan to meet up. And then we meet up, December 13th. We're talking about the time. I send her a restaurant. We go against that one. Malua. Okay, Friday, December 13th. There we go. Friday, December 13th.
You guys met up in real life and had a conversation about how to proceed?
Yeah, and how she's doing. Because at this point...
Had you talked to Destiny, Steven, about this stuff?
I had heard about it at this point, and he had basically, like, the only thing he had said is being like, hey, I'm worried about Pixie. Like, I think she's suicidal. Like, you should... Like, if you want, you should probably check on her.
He told you.
Dude. Literally, you are being said. You are the capo. You are the capo. Dude.
He had basically, like, the only thing he had said is being like, hey, I'm worried about Pixie. Like, I think she's suicidal. Like, you should, like, if you want, you should probably check on her.
He told you.
Kyla, I need crisis management. Kyla, I need crisis management. Kyla, go talk to Pixie, please. I'm gonna have blood on my hands. Go talk to Pixie.
That he was worried about her being suicidal.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes,
you
but I
then
didn't.
go check up on her. You meet up in real life, and what?
Yes, but I
What?
texted her beforehand, just to be clear. I'd already texted her about wanting to meet up and talk anyways, and he
Yeah.
just gave me the extra information. She's suicidal.
Okay.
Um,
How did that
yeah,
conversation with her go?
it went honestly really, really well. You should like if you want, you should probably check on her. And I was like, oh,
He
okay, thank
told
you.
you that he was worried about her being suicidal.
Yes,
Okay, so
yes,
you
but I
then
didn't.
go check up on her. You meet up in real life, and what?
Yes, but I
What?
texted her beforehand, just to be clear. I'd already texted her about wanting to meet up and talk anyways, and he
Yeah.
just gave me the extra information. She's suicidal.
Okay.
Okay.
How did that
Yeah,
conversation with her go?
it went honestly really, really well. I will say so. Like part of when I went into it was I was trying to evaluate like how suicidal, how serious the risk was, and like where she was at. Just because I don't know if you're familiar with my background, but I've obviously had a lot of experience with suicidal people, and so like the first goal for me was to be like, are you like an acute risk to yourself? Like, what needs to happen? If not, what can we do instead to kind of help you get out of like this place? In
Okay.
that conversation, basically, she kind of told me about how she's been suicidal like most of her life, how she's been struggling a lot. But the concerning part to me in that conversation, I guess, like what more specifically was pertinent was she was actively cutting off friends so that to prepare for suicide. So she was cutting off friends so that if she did and opted to kill herself, it would hurt them less. So at this point, she had broken up with a couple of friends and stopped responding, and a couple of friends were trying to hang out with her, and she wasn't responding to them. I don't think she probably wants any of the names of the friends leaked. At least she said, like, please don't give any of the names out. So you can check with her separately if she wants to give you names. But yeah, just different friends in Miami. Yeah,
That's fine. I believe that she was suicidal over having her news leaked. And before that point in time, that's fair. Okay, so
yeah. So importantly, though, she had a stockpile of pills. So I asked her straight out. I was like, okay, so I need to know, like, do you have means? Like, how would you like if you're planning to do it? Do you have a plan? She's like, yes, probably pills.
Okay, yeah, the extended talk about Pixie's suicidality. Why is this the conversation topic?
I was like, do you have the pills right now? And she was like, yes, I do. And I was like, okay, that's pretty serious. So we continued talking, and basically I shifted into like, I'm not gonna lie, like a bit of side intervention conversation.
Like what? Why is the conversation just about Pixie's suicidality? That's not what it's meant to be about.
Where basically you talk with your friend, you figure out how things are going on, you understand them, and you try to find things that they feel tether them to life, right? And so one thing that she really cared about is she does care about her friends. She doesn't want to hurt them. Another thing she cares about is she does want to see like some level of like justice for the situation. She thinks what he did was wrong. And to be clear, I agree with her. I've told Stephen that. I've told her that. Like I've never minced words about being like, yeah, he did something really wrong here.
You, to be clear, going into that conversation, you didn't know that the video was shared unconsensually?
No, because Aaron had already told me like a week before. So I was already aware. Yeah. I wanted to talk to Pixie, and then I wanted to talk to Stephen to see how he would respond afterwards.
Okay, so during the conversation with Pixie, did she? Because you talked about her suicidality. Do you guys talk about other stuff in terms of like how she was feeling about it or her recourse? I mean, you said she wanted to seek justice. Was she thinking about a lawsuit at that point in time?
So we talked about a bunch of her options. She was like, she had looked into a lawsuit at that point. I don't know how much I can say about her lawsuit, but basically it wasn't something she wanted to consider for a couple of legal reasons that I probably would let her describe. But one reason I think can be fully public would be that she didn't want her name out there. I think she said that in DMs to Stephen as well.
Okay.
That got leaked today. So she was very worried about if she does a civil suit, her name will have to be publicly attached to the civil suit. And so she was like, I really don't want to consider a lawsuit. And I said, like, I guess I'll show you text as well where I reiterate this, but the entire time with Pixie, my entire approach has been, you get to steer the boat. Like, you get to decide how you want to respond, and you can decide that you don't want a lawsuit today, and you can change your mind a week from now, and all of that's okay. Like, all of that's okay.
Yeah, you can decide how you want to proceed, but if it's anything financial, I can't help you. That's what Erudite basically said to her. She's being very slippery here. In the messages, it wasn't just, you can do whatever you want, I'm here for you. It was, if you want to go public or get financial compensation, my hands are tied. I can't help. I thought you only cared about rehabilitation. I thought you cared about rehabilitation, Pixie. That's what she was saying. Dude, it...
Okay.
We talked about how she could maybe talk to him like privately, but she was really nervous to. So this is where she basically was like, I can't remember if she brought it up first or I, but basically her being like maybe you can see what he'd be willing to do like for me. She was like, I feel like you really, really understand emotionally where I'm coming from. I did a lot of like paraphrasing of like,
isn't that fair to say? No, it's not fair to say, I thought you cared about rehabilitation. No, that's not fair to say at all. And not being able to negotiate the money, that's why she shouldn't be fucking involved in the first place. Why the fuck is Kyla playing counsel for Destiny and Pixie?
Like, your biggest concern right now is like justice, because you feel like you've been wronged and there's no direction for you to correct the situation. And you've been betrayed by your friend in like a pretty major way. And there's nothing for you to do that doesn't kind of publicly implicate you. And so you want to work with him privately to find a better resolution that you feel at peace with. She's like, yes, that's exactly what I want. I want to know that he's not going to do this again, right? That was her orientation in the conversation. So we talked about a couple of strategies about how she could do that. I was like, you could message him. You could go through like other people to message him. You could go through a civil lawsuit. You can take 5 days and just like think about it. Like, you don't have to decide right now, but just like let me know what you'd like. And that's when she was like, yeah, I think I'd really appreciate if you just like told him where I'm at, communicate like emotionally. She's like, I feel like when I communicate with him, like he's not understanding it. I don't feel really understood. And I feel like you do understand me. And I said, okay, yeah, I'm happy to communicate how you're feeling to him.
Okay. So then from there, you go and talk to him. At which point you already know from based on what SoErudite said that it seemed like it was shared unconsensually. What did he say?
I think she confirmed that. So Pixie also confirmed that when we met.
Okay. All right.
And that's when he said to me, so when I confronted him, I said, did she agree to it? And he said, probably not. It was like 3 years ago, so I don't remember exactly. And I didn't think it would be a big deal, but yeah, probably not. So I took that as him saying no. To be clear, he never said to me, I guess, explicitly no, which is probably something that he might take contention with. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. So you guys have that conversation.
Probably not. I didn't think it was a big deal. Dude, it's fucking sickening. It's fucking sickening. You knew it was a big deal. You're a fucking liar. You know it's a big deal. You're such a fucking liar. Remember, he went after Bob 7. A key part of his Bob 7 manifesto was Bob 7 sharing nudes. That was a key part. He knows this is bad to do. He has acknowledged it. He has gone after other people for it. Again, guys, I said this last night. I stole it from a YouTube comment on one of my videos. XJ9 won. Okay? Real Destiny fans know. Okay? Not this one. Not this XJ9. XJ9 won. This is 2013. October 2013. Destiny speaks to League of Legends top tier player XJ9. Severely autistic guy. He speaks in fucking hours about how XJ9, as a response to his e-girlfriend playing Lee Sin, she picked Lee Sin, a character that XJ9 fucking hated. In response to his e-girlfriend picking Lee Sin, he shared her nudes. And Destiny sat there saying how much of a sick fucking freak this guy was, how he was such a terrible guy for hours, picking his brain apart. So the idea that Destiny didn't think this was a big deal is fucking cope. It's total delusion.
At that point, you know, Pixie wants some kind of...
Exactly. XJ9 had way better reasoning. Destiny just did this shit because he's sick in the head. XJ9, she played Lee Sin. Dude, Lee Sin is so fucking annoying.
Justice doesn't want her name out there.
It's got fucking, like, what is it, 8 abilities? 9 abilities?
You know, obviously what Steve's position...
That's the most overtuned kit in the fucking world.
...is. Where does it go from... So at that point, you know, Pixie wants some kind of justice, doesn't want her name out there. You know, obviously what Steve's position is. Where does it go from there? From here, you kind of start mediating conversations between them and what he wants versus what she wants.
Well, at first I basically go like a big part of this was, okay, he said to me, like in my recollection and my perception of the conversation, it felt like he was saying like more or less like, I mean, yeah. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, this is a big fuck up. Like,
did he recognize how bad it was?
Yes, yes. He's like, I know. And I was like, it's really bad. And he's like, I know, I know. And he was like, he's like, okay, fuck, I don't know. I think publicly he hasn't said what he's doing like legally behind the scenes. So I like literally can't tell you that. But he told me a number of things just because like I don't want to get caught up in a lot of the lawsuits in part. And secondly, I think if some of the things get public, it could like implicate part of what's trying to be done from both sides, I think, as far as like investigation and stuff. So he basically like told me what he was doing behind the scenes.
So what's going on here?
Where does it go from there? From here, you kind of start mediating conversations between them and
Jason won.
What he wants versus what she wants.
Well, at first I basically go like a big part of this was, okay, he said to me, like in my recollection and my perception of the conversation, it felt like he was saying like more or less like, I mean, yeah. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, this is a big fuck up. Like,
did he recognize how bad it was?
Yes, yes. He's like, I know. And I was like, it's really bad. And he's like, I know, I know. And he was like, he's like, okay, fuck, I don't know. I think publicly he hasn't said what he's doing like legally behind the scenes. So I like literally can't tell you that. But he told me a number of things just because like I don't want to get caught up in a lot of the lawsuits in part. And secondly, I think if some of the things get public, it could like implicate part of what's trying to be done from both sides, I think, as far as like investigation and stuff. So
surely if Destiny starts throwing out a bunch of lawsuits, everyone will just forgive him, right?
He basically like told me what he was doing behind the scenes as far as like what to do. And then I was like sitting there being like, okay, but like, what did you say? Like when she first approached you, I was like pushing him and he was like, fuck, like, I don't know. He's like, if you want, you can just read our entire DMs. Like I can show you our entire DMs of like what I said to her so that you know like how I responded. And I was like, to be honest, I would appreciate that. So
are these the same DMs that already got leaked or is this a different conversation?
Fuck, I would need to look. I think almost all of them are the exact ones that got leaked, except rather than it being like clipped up.
Dude, I would honestly love to see Destiny Sue Kiwi farms. That would be like a year of content. That is like a year of such easy videos. Literally the easiest content arc in the fucking world for me to cover.
Okay, but what are your opinions on Wukong in LoL? Nude leak worthy?
I am a huge Wukong fan. No, Wukong playing should be encouraged. I love the monkey. I love playing Wukong. He's one of my top played characters, top played champs.
Into little
Thank you for the
images,
dono.
it'll be like the entire thing, and like their whole conversation, which has lots of extras in it, but more or less, I think what's been leaked.
Okay, and what was your impression of that conversation once you read that?
Basically, I read that as, okay, so he knows that he's done wrong. And when she brings it to him, the first thing that he does is basically say, I'm really sorry. Like, there's no excuse, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm glad that at least, like, when she's talking to him, he's, like, fully acknowledging, like, he fucked up here. Him and I read through some of the plan. I think some of the plan is probably excluded, like, what he's doing, like, behind the scenes and legally. And he also talked to me about the money offer. And I was like, why did you offer her money? And he was like, well, he's like, I know it looks scummy, but I also know she's like applying for LSAT. So I just figured like, it's not much, but it's something I can do to help because like she's fucked, like she got fucked over. She did nothing wrong.
Doesn't that kind of read as like him offering her money for some benefit in exchange for her silence?
To be honest, I really didn't read it that way. Particularly because it's like caveated with like, I know that this looks scummy, especially now that I have full context, I realize the idea actually came from Aaron, and then he suggested it to her like, I believe within an hour, if I'm looking at the times correctly, like he immediately said.
Now, in fairness, okay, I'm going to try and both sides this one, okay? Because it's actually, this is slightly more difficult, I think, than people really realize. Because it's just like, what is Destiny supposed to do? Okay, he's told by Pixie's friend, money might help. Would you prefer he didn't offer any restitution? It should be done through a lawyer. Absolutely, I agree. It should be done through a lawyer, 100%. But they weren't, these people are retarded. They weren't involving lawyers. So, obviously, Destiny should probably offer something. He should try and make it right in some way. The issue is, Destiny knows he's still engaging in this behavior. He engages in this behavior pretty, like, a lot. Right? This isn't going to be the only time. More allegations have come out. A bunch of people have come out with bunch of statements saying, oh, yeah, I've been sent this shit, all this stuff. So we know this is like more widespread than it appeared when Destiny was making these statements. So it's sort of like he does kind of know, if I can just satisfy her, if I can just make it so she's like fine with it, it's gonna go away. So it is a little bit like he obviously doesn't want it to go nuke him in public. He didn't want this happening, did he? To say it doesn't look bad in an honest interpretation just because he caveats it with, I know it looks bad, lol, is just a really dumb read. That's very true. That's very true. Erudite's read here is very stupid. That's true. That is true. I don't think it's necessarily like hush money, but I think there is an implication there. There is an implication in the handing over of money that this is going to go away, right? I give you the money and this goes away. If he gives her the money and then she comes out, what would his response be? His response would be, I thought this was fixed. She asked for money. I gave it to her. I thought this was fine now. Pixie said we'd be fine if I just gave her this money. And now she's not fine with it. That would be the Reddit post, right?
Suggested it to her. So it's coming from somebody, now I realize, even that was in his mind talking to her and communicating like what she wanted. And my understanding as well is that was something that is probably the right thing to do. Like he should probably, if she's like doesn't want to go public or anything, and because of that she can't like sue him, if he's remorseful and like wants to take accountability for his actions, he should like probably pay for therapy and like probably her living for a while to like help her out, basically. Like that seemed like, alongside the other stuff that he was doing, to be honest, like the right response, if I'm being honest.
I mean, I guess the concern for me is like, you know, Pixie, I mean, in her own statement, she said that there's, you know, I think she said 3 people total, her and 2 other people, that he's seemingly done this to. And I mean, you know, obviously it's her decision whether or not it goes public, but, you know, the problem with it maybe not going public at some point is, he doesn't face actual repercussions for his actions, which is like public scrutiny, right? Because if he gets it in his head, he can just pay his way out of these situations. And to be clear, he has enough money to do that. You know, he can pay for her law school and still be okay. It's like, what incentive is there for him to not do it again in the future if he thinks he might be able to get away with it? You know?
Yeah, this is why when I talked to Pixie, I told her like if you want to sue him, I like support you in doing that. I've never said anything different with her. I think that's like fully within her right. I just know for her, I guess to be specific, she explicitly told me that if this stuff became more public, that was the thing that made her want to kill herself. She was terrified of like family finding out. She was terrified of like friends and stuff finding out and like seeing this content. And she was like, that was the thing like driving her suicidality, was the publicity of it, which is why she didn't want to go to like civil court. Right. So then I'm like, what's if the publicity part is attached to the suit, which she said she talked to lawyers, I just believed her. It sounds like that's also correct. Then it's like, what's the next best thing for her? Because I think that she deserves something. But
so what was your kind of goal throughout all of this? Because obviously it puts you in a very awkward position where on one hand you're trying to help out your friend, but at the same time, I mean, you're I don't know if you're employed by Destiny, but you work with him. Obviously,
we co-own a business together.
Yeah, right. So like what kind of position are you in at that point? Like, how are you feeling? Are you thinking like, can I continue working with this guy if he's doing this kind of stuff? Are you thinking of cutting him off? Like, what kind of position is that putting you in?
I mean, before I sent the message to Aaron, I was talking to my husband, like to Nick, and I was like, if he recorded somebody without their knowledge and sent it out, like I don't think I can, like, I don't know what to do. I don't think I can work with, like, that's a line I can't.
Oh yeah? So you're going to be cutting it off now then, right? So it's over now then, right? Right, Kyla? So it's over now then, right? Surely. Because she set a standard now. She set a line, and that line has been crossed.
I don't fuck with that shit. Like, that's insane.
But she does fuck with sharing nudes, okay.
And it sounds like, I know recently, like, Cherry has made some statements, just to be clear, I don't know anything about those leaks, and so, like, I don't know. I need to figure out what's going on.
She hasn't resigned yet. She said she was pausing content releases for Bridges.
On those additional leaks. I know recently, like, Cherry has made some statements, just to be clear, I don't know anything about those leaks, and so, like, I don't know. I need to figure out what's going on with those additional leaks. Because, like, a pretty hard line for me is, like, if somebody yeah, if somebody does according to somebody else, that's a pretty hard line for me.
Right. Well, even outside of the recording, I mean, the question of whether or not the recording was consented to, the spreading around certainly wasn't from your perspective. Is that
For
enough
sure,
to draw a line
100%.
or no?
So that it's not for me. The issue is that
Wait.
Recording. I mean, the question of whether or not the recording was consented to, the spreading around certainly wasn't from your perspective. Is that
for
enough
sure,
to draw a line
100%.
or no?
So that it's not for me. The issue is that what was a line for me before, I was like, okay, if she did consent to the recording but not to the spreading around, which I'm assuming that she hadn't, then I said, what matters to me is like how he responds. Is he trying to fix it? Is he being remorseful? Is he like reaching out to her to like find some level of solution? If that's like his initial response, that to me is a lot more meaningful. Because it's like,
I guess
okay, well,
I guess my question
up.
would be like, why do you draw a line there? Like, it's not like he slipped on a banana peel, like he was in one of his goon sessions and he decided to send a video to some random Discord e-girl of Pixie engaging with him. Like, why would, I mean, obviously he had to have known that, whether or not he was the one to leak it to the public, he had to have known that he's running the risk of that video being publicized when he's sending a video of, him and another person sexually interacting to someone random that he met on Discord, or even someone he may have trusted, right? Like, if Pixie didn't consent, he had to have known he ran the risk of that being publicized in some way, considering how much public scrutiny there is around Destiny, and frankly, how many people would love to have a video of him engaging in that, as we've seen from the Twitter stuff, right? Like, is that not something he should have been pretty, I don't know, forward thinking about?
Yeah, I agree that like the issue is like, it's not that I'm not saying it wasn't a fuck up. Like
It's not a fuck up. It's not just a fuck up, is it? It's like repeated disregarding of people's consent. That's not a fuck up. It's a pattern of not giving a shit what your sexual partners think about what you do with the content they send or record with you.
I agree that it was a fuck up, and I think it was a massive betrayal of trust. Just to me, like recording somebody and then without their knowledge and leaking it is like a full on, like it's a pretty like sexually invasive crime. Leaking somebody's nudes, I think, is also really bad. To be clear, I think it is really bad. But the issue is that I think it's fundamentally just a more common issue that people do. It's definitely, in my experience, not the first time that somebody has like leaked nudes. I think it's really bad. I think it's not okay. Like when you hear about like
it's bad. What do you want me to say? Dude, how about you actually address it? This is the exact sort of sweeping, the toothless criticism that Mr. Girl was complaining about the other day. The absolute toothless criticism, which, yeah, I think it's really bad. I think it's like a fuck up. I think it's really bad. I think he really did the wrong thing here. I think it's really bad. No, he violated your friend's consent and distributed video of her engaging in a sex act without her consent or knowledge. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. He sent it to random whores on Discord. That's disgusting.
Will do. It's definitely, in my experience, not the first time that somebody has like leaked nudes. I think it's really bad. I think it's not okay. Like when you hear about like guys,
it's
like, showing
gross.
other guys,
it's disgusting.
Like, tits that some girls shunt her. Like I think it's gross, and there's a reason I don't look at it.
That's also gross. She can refer to that one as gross. She's referred to a lesser thing that Destiny didn't do as gross, but has not used that term for Destiny's actions. Dude, what? So she describes Destiny's actions. Destiny's actions are creating a permanent record of this video with a random teenage e-whore. A permanent record of this video with a random teenage e-whore that he has no reason to trust. That's just bad. That's just not okay. That's a fuck up. Then she describes someone showing on their phone to a male friend pictures of tits that they've been sent by a woman. A temporary, still an invasion of privacy, but a temporary one where there is no permanent record created and the capacity for harm is significantly lower. And she says that's gross. That's gross. The other stuff, the shit Destiny did, which is way worse, bad, not okay, a fuck up. Slightly less bad thing that Destiny didn't do, gross. That's really gross. This is the most disgusting, sweeping, just like brain rot, fucking absolutely totally owned by your boss mindset I've ever seen.
I think it's fundamentally just a more common issue that people do. It's definitely, in my experience, not the first time that somebody has like leaked nudes. I think it's really bad. I think it's not okay. Like when you hear about like guys like showing other guys like tits that some girls shunter, like I think it's gross, and there's a reason I don't look at.
I mean that's that's I agree it's less severe, but this isn't a bunch of high schoolers, right? This is a 35-year-old guy who's doing this.
Sure, but the law and morals are different, right? In the case of like recording somebody against their consent and then
wait,
this isn't a bunch of high schoolers, right? This is a 35-year-old guy who's doing this.
He doesn't say anything about law here.
Sure, but the law and morals are different, right? In the case of like recording somebody against their consent
Tom's
and
face.
then releasing it against
Tom's
their
like,
consent
fuck you on about?
is a totally different action to me than like having it sent to them and then thinking it would stay private because they're sending it to somebody else and giving it to somebody else, which they shouldn't have done. Like these are just the intention and everything behind it is a lot different to me.
So is your concern entirely the legality versus the morality? Like is the morality not really a big question for you?
No, I think morality is a really big question. But I'm saying that basically, to some degree, I suppose I'm saying I agree with the law here. I agree with the law drawing a line here saying like this is a even more severe action. Both are really bad. The issue is that.
Then why was your opening to this? If you're saying my morality aligns with the law, why did you say the law and morality are different as your intro to this little thought? Dude, she's just fucking winging it. Is just desperately trying to make this make sense. Literally fucking contorting into a fucking pretzel trying to make this make sense.
One of them is like criminologically bad, and the other one is like, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Okay. So you were okay with working with the piece of shit, to be clear.
I was willing to work with somebody who fucked up, and then you're a fucking piece of shit.
Okay. So you were okay with working with the piece of shit, to be clear.
I was willing to work with somebody who fucked up, and then also showed remorse and was like willing to try to help the person that he fucked over and correct it. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well,
Dude.
I guess moving on from that interaction.
Didn't answer.
So where did the kind of conversation go from there once you had gotten his side and gotten her side? You, at that point, a lot of the DMs seem to be you kind of mediating, talking to her about what she wants versus what Steven is willing to provide and do. What was your kind of perspective on those interactions before we get into the specific stuff? I guess just overarchingly, what was your goal there?
Sorry, I think I'm not understanding your question. Could you just rephrase it?
I guess okay. What was your goal past that point? Once you found out what he had apparently done, and you seemingly got confirmation. Once you found out how her feelings were on it, what was your goal past that point? Was it just to help Pixie out? Was it to protect Destiny from the allegations?
No. So like this is the biggest frustration. I don't know if you've seen the Fairy Queen leaks or whatever. I don't know why people keep saying this. They keep saying that I asked her to delete the comment, but you can just read my message. I explicitly tell her I'm messaging her because I don't want her to remove the comment. I want her to remove the identifying piece where she talks about like friends, because I don't want anything that could narrow it to Pixie, because the main thing that Pixie has said to me over and over is the publicity piece. So the only thing that I have cared about by and large has been following what Pixie feels that she needs in that moment, right? Listening to like what she's asking for. There are certain things it's possible that she could ask me to do where I'd be like,
total like, why not just admit what you're, I just fucking hate this. It's so sickening to me. It's so sickening. Why not just admit that your intention is self-interest? Why can't you just admit that? Even Dan will say, my intention, my goal is self-interest. Even in regards to Pixie, he'll say, I was self-interested. But he'll be very specific. I was not trying to protect Destiny. I was trying to protect myself. I was not trying to protect Destiny. So what did I say to Pixie? I said, I can help you find a lawyer if you want. You shouldn't yourself if you're going to anyone. That's what he said to her, right? That's what he said. Also, tried to talk Destiny down from suing the Kiwi farmers, please. Pretty please. That was what Dan said, right? But he admits that's all self-interest. He wants to keep himself safe. Why does Erudite play this bullshit, lying, snake fucking game of, oh, all I cared about was Pixie. All I cared about is Pixie. No, you didn't. You're Destiny's business partner. You don't want bridges to implode. We know what you're motivated by. We know what you're thinking about.
Like, I'm not comfortable facilitating this, right? But saying something like, please don't make my name public. Please don't address it publicly, and please like try to keep it as quiet as possible. 110% I'm going to do that. Like no question.
So
And
you say
if
the
you look at the
Fairy
Fairy
Queen
Queen
leaks,
mess-
do you mean is this myth?
So we all have to do this too. Everyone but Erudite has to do this. Erudite somehow thinks she's above this. She somehow thinks she's above admitting her actual motivation, okay? I'll get on stream. I'll say, yeah, I'm monetizing the victim's suffering. I'm not here to save anyone. I'm making money. This is my job. J-Stool will get on stream. Say, maybe I personally cares about Cherry because they're friends. But that really, the reason he's on stream isn't to fucking save anyone, isn't to do anything. It's because he's making a fuck ton of money from doing it. Obviously, he's covering it more and more because he's making money from it. Erudite, meanwhile, will sit there and go, I just truly care. I just really care about Pixie. I just really care about Pixie.
Message, right? Let me just to confirm with you.
Yes. So if you read, I get that you're mad. That's fair. Your comment is kind of confirming that.
Any disagreements, go to discord.gg/Kuihman. You can all call in Purple Monkey Dishwasher. You were in chat yesterday. You were typing the whole fucking time and never joined VC, claiming that you were busy, but you were typing in here for like 6 hours. So you're going to get banned from chat if you keep typing out disagreeing. And there's some other guy here who seems like he's disagreeing. If I keep saying annoying messages, I'll just get banned.
That it's them, which they're denying and drawing more attention to their. I'd really appreciate if you considered removing.
I have fucking disagreement, but you're seething about Erudite in chat. You're not. I don't think you have. Do you have disagreement with me? It seems like you have disagreement with Erudite.
That part of your comment, right? Just that part. And there's a reason that I didn't just delete it immediately because I.
Yes, you. Okay, let's bring in someone who wants to disagree with me. Hello, definitely ignorant. What have you got for me?
So the entire basis of your criticism of Erudite is just ignoring the main issue, which is her entire thing, her entire brand. Why she claims to be doing this is to start like a clinic, a mental health clinic, right? She portrays herself as
what does that change for me? How does that change my criticism?
So everything that she's doing here is just basic ethical, like she shouldn't be doing any of this from like an ethical perspective of what she's claiming her job is. Everything here is just...
Okay, but can I just 1 second though? But your disagreement with me here is you're not being hard enough on Erudite, isn't it?
Sure, but you're giving her credibility.
Sure, it's fine. Explain, lay out your thinking. Lay out your thinking. Lay out your criticism of Erudite. But I was kind of looking for Erudite defenders in regards to disagreeing with me. But go for it. Lay out what you think of Erudite and how you think it's an ethical breach. Go for it.
So she like if you're a mental health practitioner or like a doctor, because like that's what she wants to do, a doctorate in psychology, right? And she wants to start a mental health clinic.
Yeah, she wants her incel ranch. Yeah.
If a coworker of yours has a massive ethical violation or victimizes one of your like people there, one of the people you're taking care of their mental health, you can't interact with them anymore. You have to have a hard cutoff. Like this is basic ethical practice in anyone in a health profession. And she just totally disregards all of it. Like she should not be given any credibility for anything she's saying or any of her interactions with any of these women, right? Because she's being like, oh, I'm trying to help their mental health. Oh, I'm trying to help give them advice. When the best thing a mental health practitioner could do in this situation is say, hey, go talk to someone else. Hey, go talk to the police, go talk to the lawyers. You should not and cannot talk to me about this because that's like, I cannot give you proper advice due to just basic medical ethics.
I totally agree with that, but I think it's a mistake to cite medical ethics or anything like that because it's not a medical context and she's not licensed. But I agree with the criticism. But even if she was in that position, I think she would still be fine to act this way in this context because it's not a medical context, right? She's not actually practicing. So I don't think she would actually be beholden to like ethical guidelines in that way. I agree with your point, your criticism here, that is the best way to act, and that obviously she must know that there's an implication when Erudite, Destiny's business partner, goes and talks to the victim. And is like, okay, how can we sort this? I know you're looking. I think you're just looking for rehabilitation, right? Obviously, there's an implication there. There's like a huge conflict of interest. She's trying to shut the story down, but I think it's a mistake to cite medical ethics because it doesn't apply in this context.
Again, but what you just talked about, how pointing out all of that, how she clearly knows, and she knows because of these things. And so everything she is saying to Tom right here is basically an easily exposed lie based on what you just said, right? So because she's saying all these things to Tom, but then the very basis of this conversation is an obvious lie based on the very words you just used. And that's my issue, right? So people are like people are like, oh yeah, she might be doing this, she could be doing this, when it's like the very conversation disproves everything that she's saying.
Yeah, sure, I agree. The motivation she's portraying here is total bullshit. I agree. And
like, and the whole and then the thing that, like, again, kind of makes me see is she's like, and we talk about how it's like, why doesn't she just say she's self-motivated? It's because her brand is, Incel Ranch. It's like, oh, I care about people's mental health. When, like, all of DGG is this weird cult, and then she's putting herself forward as this person to take care of mental health, while, like, she actively enables all of this super fucked up behavior, and then going to these people who have been directly victimized by someone she calls a friend. It's so insane that anyone listens to her at all. Like, the very premise is just...
You're preaching to the choir, okay? You are preaching to the choir.
I know. So I get really annoyed when you and others listen to this and engage with her as like, oh yeah, she's like, no, she can't be doing this seriously. It's like, no, she is doing this intentionally, knowingly, as a way to, like, muddy the waters and mitigate. Like, this is all offensive action on behalf of Destiny. It's not like it could be. It is the very basis of her job, and the things she puts forward contradicts what she is doing. And then she doesn't talk about that, and she goes to Tom. Like, and this is why she will never talk to you, and she won't touch Chud, and she won't touch Sunday. It's because you guys might touch on that, and then that kind of breaks the illusion. When she talks to Tom and he doesn't call her out on these very basic, obvious things, then this whole conversation happens. And then everyone talks about this conversation as if there's some validity here. But by talking about it as if it has validity, it gives it a validity it should not be given.
Sure. All right.
And then that's all. And that's everything Destiny does, is he muddies the water and then makes people talk about things that should just be rejected flat out.
Sure, I think there's a point there. But I mostly agree, so I feel like I just don't have much to respond to.
I understand, and I understand why you want people that disagree. But, like, again, as long as people treat her like there's some room that she's just misguided or whatever, when it's like, no, the basis of her job and her knowledge and her brand contradicts the very thing she's saying. This is obviously, like, it can't be anything other than malicious bad faith, intentionally malicious. It's like with Dan advising Pixie to try to get more money. It's like, look at the entire narrative around Pixie now, with Sunday saying it's like, oh, she's digging for money, and other people saying that. And Dan's very proud that he advised Pixie to help create that narrative, when that's, again, malicious. These people are obviously malicious, but to, like, talk with them and engage in these conversations, you have to give them room, as if what they're saying has some sort of, like, non-malicious basis. When it doesn't, it's obvious it doesn't. This is, like, their job. This is what they're paid to do.
Okay, I'm going to bring Mrao in to talk to you for a moment while I AFK for a second, because I'm going to bring Purple Monkey Dishwasher in after I'm back. So I'll probably boot you when I get back, but I'll bring Mrao in for now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Any comments on what I just said?
Me?
Yeah.
I think you've come in here and said, like, useless things. You're punching ghosts. You don't have an issue with Kuihman. You have an issue with Erudite.
Again, like I said, my issue was Kuihman.
I actually didn't want to. I was talking to the Purple Monkey guy about Linkin Park songs, but I'll talk to you, I guess. Yeah, you just come in here and said something like useless. You don't have anything you actually want to say.
Again, it's you give credibility to Erudite by treating it as if, again, she has some non-malicious intentions. You're giving her
that's what Kuihman's doing?
Yes.
How long have you watched Kuihman?
I'm saying in this very live stream, while he is watching her and responding to the things she is saying, he gives her credibility.
How?
Okay, so her conversation.
We have to give her credibility. Are we just supposed to not listen to her? She has direct contact with both Destiny and Pixie. What would you prefer people do when they're talking about Erudite?
To treat her as a perpetrator.
We are, or I am, and I believe Kuihman has. I can't speak for him, obviously.
Again, I don't think Kuihman or, like, others are intentionally trying to give her credibility, but it's like the basis in some action.
Okay, sorry, guys. I'm gonna knock us on the head because I want to get more people in. Okay, so thanks for calling in. I'm going to move you out. Purple Monkey Dishwasher, hello.
Sorry. Okay. Hey, what's
Hi,
up?
what's your point of disagreement?
I don't know. I mean, you keep telling me to call in, and here I am. I think.
Yeah, because you were saying I was wrong about something in chat, so I'm asking you what the point of disagreement was.
In that particular moment, it was something to do with Erudite. I think you're being pretty uncharitable to her in general.
Okay,
but,
what do you think I've said that's been inaccurate due to bad faith or whatever? Okay, Sunday, 1 minute, okay. Yeah, sorry, carry on. What do you think I've been uncharitable on? What have I said that's inaccurate?
Let's see. I mean, you said, why doesn't she just admit that she is motivated for self-preservation reasons, I assume?
Can this guy stop? Sorry, what? Sunday just keeps rejoining. I'm taking his role away for 1 minute. Okay, carry on.
Which is fair, but I think that in general, her acting in a way that is ethical towards Pixie is probably in line with her self-preservation. But I assume you mean that there's something extra on top of acting in that way that she's doing wrong.
No, I'm saying that she's misportraying her motivation. She's portraying it as though she is being altruistic. She just wants to make sure Pixie's okay. I believe that to be obviously untrue, and that from the messages we can see, when Pixie starts entertaining the idea of going public or filing a lawsuit, Erudite says, "Oh, you're just looking for punishment, not rehabilitation." I think that seems pretty clear that she wants it to stay private, and that's her goal.
I don't know if you've watched the rest of the video. I actually just tuned into your stream after I watched the video. But I mean, she does encourage her to do exactly that. I think, one thing that is a refrain in what...
Sorry, she encourages her to do what?
To go forward with the lawsuit. I think that the one thing she didn't suggest is going forward with the $1 million because she didn't think she would get it.
Wait, so Erudite she said you should go forward with the lawsuit, or did Erudite say you can do whatever you want?
I mean, this particular one, in the sense that she was asking for $1 million, I think that she suggested that she not do that.
I'm asking you a very specific question. Did Erudite say to Pixie, you should go through with the lawsuit? Or did Erudite say to Pixie, whatever you want to do is fine?
I think she was suggesting that she try to get compensation. I think that her point was that you were not going to get $1 million. But I don't remember specifically if she said that you should sue him or not. Because if I also remember correctly, Pixie's whole point was like, I want to punish him. No amount that he's going to be okay with is going to be okay with me. So it's almost kind of de facto making it so that she would have to sue him.
Erudite was discouraging. Erudite was discouraging that, right? Erudite was saying, you don't want to do that. You don't want to punish him. You just want rehabilitation, right? You're not evil. You don't want to punish him.
I'm not even sure that she would be against that. I don't think she's against.
Okay, well, I'm telling you that in their texts, Pixie says she wants punishment for Destiny, and that no amount that he is willing to give would be enough. Erudite says, "Oh, I think I see where you're going with this. I thought you wanted rehabilitation or something like this." I'm quite paraphrasing, but it's very clear. She starts pulling away. She gets cold. She pulls away when Pixie starts pressing the idea of enacting some kind of punishment. Erudite wants specifically rehabilitation, which to me means private, right? Because if the idea of punishment is a lawsuit, which is public, or going public with it, making a post, that's punishment.
Well, I don't know if I agree. I mean, I could be proven wrong, but I think the whole thing is Erudite in particular, she keeps her relationship with Steven because she says that she believes in rehabilitation. But no, she
says to Pixie, I thought you wanted rehabilitation.
Hold on a second.
Well, let me pull up the DMs.
Yeah.
The Erudite statement.
Gotcha.
Let's just... Yeah, okay, so let me read this out to you. So the Erudite gives a list of 3 things that she thinks Pixie wants. The third one is a sense that Steven understands how in the wrong he was and a plan to prevent this from ever happening again. Pixie replies with this. Yeah, the only problem is number 3, referring to that point. Because even with the removal of the video and getting the guy hack charged, Steven still has to face consequences proportional to his actions. I want this to be the most expensive mistake of his life, and I'm essentially asking him to self-punish himself in a way I don't think he will like or agree to without the law involved. I don't have a dollar amount from the top of my head. It just has to be enough that the rest of his life If he thinks of the word nude, he associates it with the amount of money he lost. Obviously, I don't want to make him destitute, but it should be large enough that he does feel upset about it and it's not easily recoverable. Erudite's reply is, okay, so that is what you want to pursue. It wasn't clear to me before that that is what you wanted specifically. My understanding was it was more a sense of rehabilitation and justice, but now you have a specific thing you want, which is for him to lose a certain amount of money.
Yeah, I don't see. Okay.
So Pixie's saying that there has to be some kind of punishment, and then Erudite
that's exactly
says,
in line with my understanding.
and then Erudite replies to her, "Oh, I thought you wanted rehabilitation. See, I don't know if I can help you with this."
Is there anything after that, or is that where the?
Yeah, so I'll read the next one. So Pixie says, "It is that. I don't think if Stephen face, sorry, she's mistyped here, but I'll just correct it so that it says what I know she's actually trying to say. It is that I don't think that if Stephen faces no consequences, he will change and he will do this again. If he wants, he can donate the money to some charity or organization. I just think that other than jail, or even more than jail, from the studies I've read, money is the strongest reinforcer and losing it is the strongest punishment. I do not believe he will stop his actions unless he faces some level of punishment." And Erudite replies, "Gotcha. I need to think about that then, because I'm happy to communicate what you need broadly as a sense of justice, but I'm not sure what I think about the specifics of money and punishment in this case. I'm not saying you're wrong, it's just the tone has changed from our previous conversation. As I said, you'll change how you feel day by day, and I understand that, but I'm a bit uncertain as to what caused the change in your thinking, and so I wouldn't want to speak to Stephen about this on your behalf, because I'm not totally certain what's led to the certainty on this course of action." So she's saying, I can't, if you want to punish him, I can't talk to him about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she sees herself as purely a mediator or as someone who is in the position of, do I agree with your approach or not? Because I don't know.
But okay, but even if Erudite didn't agree with her approach, so if Erudite doesn't agree with her approach, and because Erudite doesn't agree with her approach, she doesn't want to help, that shoots a hole in the narrative that Erudite is giving Turkey Tom, which is, I was fine with Pixie doing whatever she wanted, I was just there to support her, right?
Does it though? I mean, she does want to help her.
No, that does shoot a hole in that narrative, a massive hole in that narrative, because there are actions that Pixie can take that she's not okay with and will not support.
Okay, this is how I'm viewing it. Give me a little space to do a hypothetical. If Pixie said the only kind of only thing that would make this even for me is if I got to shoot Stephen in the head. That would be the thing that I need to have happen. And in that case, if Kyla said, well, hey, look, I understand you want to do something to make things square, but I can't support you doing that here. Would that mean that she doesn't support
So if you had some massive, so I agree. If there was some big moral breach that was happening in Pixie's, in how Pixie wanted to approach the situation.
No, it's more that like, if her getting even, if her making this right includes something that she sees as immoral.
Does Erudite see filing a lawsuit because someone revenge point you is immoral?
I don't think so.
Then why is she? Okay, then walk with me. Wait. So then why is she not okay with this course of action? If she doesn't think it's immoral, you don't think she thinks it's immoral, why is she not okay with this course of action?
I don't know.
Is it by any chance because it's against her self-interest, because it will cause problems for Bridges and her business?
Well, isn't she thinking about quitting Bridges anyway?
Now that Cherry's statements come out that she's been pressed on this, that she's getting called Kyla Maxwell, now she's saying she might quit. She wasn't saying that before. In fact,
do you think it's because she's being called Kyla Maxwell, or do you think it's because
I think it's because of backlash. It's because of backlash.
Bridge too far.
No, it's 100% because of backlash. And because I know this, because she was literally sweeping for Destiny a couple of weeks ago with full knowledge of the Pixie stuff. She said in a stream, what was it? She was saying crazy, like, Destiny doesn't really have issues. It's stuff that other people have issues with him. She's literally sweeping for this guy endlessly.
That mixed stuff in it, yeah. There's going to be some amount of how it's received, how Stephen is received, and how Kyla is received in relation to that, that's going to affect a social platform endeavor. But, I mean, I don't know. I think there are some ethical considerations going on here. Like, there is a moral difference. There's a
little bit of calculus going on, like, this would be worse to do, I probably shouldn't do this, like that. There's a little bit of calculus going on, but fundamentally, the motivation is self-interest. It is crisis management. That is what they're trying to do.
So how do you weigh what is a kind of insurmountable moral breach and something that's just not great? I mean, I don't know. The thing is, like, if with Pixie, if these were videos that were shared without her consent, that's still awful. And I would say unforgivable. But for me, that's enough to cut ties. I don't like that in any way. And
I'm not. Again, I've said the whole time, I don't care about Erudite cutting ties. It's not about cutting ties, but you have to be honest and direct about what you think of what happened. And if you're giving toothless fucking criticism, like,
well, no, I'm saying like this is
Destiny fucked up a little bit. Destiny fucks up sometimes. She's in a
position where she has to weigh what has been done and what she is going to do in relation to that, right?
Yeah, but I don't care if she is not taking actions that will like leave her homeless and destitute. I'm not looking for her to quit Bridges. That's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is for her to be honest and direct about what happened and offer an actual condemnation of the action, but she refuses to.
But I just think she did. She did condemn pretty wholeheartedly.
What did she say?
I think she, I don't know, in specific words.
Did she say it's bad? It's a fuck up?
I don't remember. I think
that's what I've heard her say. It's bad. It's a fuck up. That's what I heard just now in this video. Actually, it's bad.
Yeah. That she said
it's a fuck up.
That's fucked up. You're a fuck up for doing that. And then
it's very
Tom said like
tame language of being like it's not like the tone there isn't you violated a woman's consent. The tone there is you made a mistake.
Well, do you think she would agree with you that he violated a woman's consent? And I think even later in the video,
if I pressed her, if I literally fucking had her in a chokehold in a Discord call, just going, do you agree with this? Do you agree with this? Yeah, she might. But she's never going to offer a substantive, full-throated criticism of her boss. It just doesn't happen.
Disagree.
It's never happened.
She offers it in this.
When? What did she say? What did she say?
Oh, I don't know. You're right.
Okay, because she didn't say anything. Because she didn't say anything full-throated. It's the most bitch, toothless criticism. It's bad. What do you want me to say? Times 1,000. Every time. When we get to that moment in the video, I will make note of it. Okay, and then I hope that you will every
time
as well. She speaks about it, it's bad. What do you want me to say? That is the response every time. Okay.
No, not it's bad. What do you want me to say? Like she has her hands up. Like,
it is. That is. That is how it. That is the tone every time. That is a tone every time. It's just it's a fuck up. It's a fuck up.
Well, okay, the fact that she's willing to.
Destiny's just an overgrown teenager with so much trauma. He accidentally hurts people around him so much. That's the tone every time.
The fact that she's willing to cut ties with him on Bridges as a consequence of what she suspects he did with Cherry. I think so. I think that was she left like a community message or whatever.
What did it say? What did it say?
It said, well, if
content releases are paused. Content releases are paused.
Right. Yes, it was a pause. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. I don't know what that means in reality for how long that actually means. But I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty big deal considering that she uprooted whatever she was doing to move to Miami and do this project, and she'll essentially have to uproot again and do something else. I think that's a pretty big cost that she's incurring. That she's willing to
now she's got no choice. Right? Now she's got no choice. Well, no, she's had such an insane amount of public backlash. If she sticks by this without doing anything, she knows that should Destiny collapse, should she have to go her own way at some point, should Destiny not want to work with her anymore, she will be completely torched. Her reputation will be completely torched, and there'll be nowhere else for her to go. This is the bare minimum she has to do to keep a light open at the end of the tunnel.
Well, no, she could go back to grad school. I mean, like, that is always an option,
but she doesn't
right?
want to do that. She's literally dropped all of her fucking studying and everything, all of that career path to go and be with Destiny, right?
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, like, if she were to continue this, and if her reputation were torched in combination with still doing this with Steven, like, even with her reputation torched, so to speak, on the internet, I don't think that would affect her ability to go back to graduate school.
No, I don't think she's mentally or at a point in her life where she is capable of going back to grad school. Not because she wouldn't be allowed to go back, but because she's uprooted her and her husband to a separate country, is probably very low on money. She would have to go like work for a few years. She would have to get like a normal job for several years if she's trying to go to grad school, I think. She would like, have to have money saved up and shit like that, right? It would not be, she could not just walk back into grad school. She could not just go back to her old life. So, yeah, to keep a light open at the end of the tunnel. No chance.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know her prospects. I don't know her money situation. I don't know what.
I mean, okay, I'll put it this way. She's claiming that her income per month right now is $1,500. She lives in
Right,
Miami.
yeah, no doubt. Yeah. No doubt. It's rough. And the fact that she's willing to take a break on Bridges is pretty telling of the price she's willing to personally pay.
But again, I don't think it is. She's not. It's not paying a personal price. It's the bare minimum she has to do to try and keep a light open in the tunnel. See that there is something good on the other side. That she might actually get through this. Because if Destiny comes crashing down, she's fucked. If she's hitched the wagon too tightly, right? This is like a little bit of
what's
distance.
the right amount of time of punishment? That is part of the question, right?
What do you mean?
Is it a life sentence? Does this mean that she should never do content with Destiny again?
I don't have a prescription. I think it's fine. If someone wants to do content with Destiny, they can do content with Destiny.
Well, it seems like taking a pause is not an acceptable solution for you.
Yeah, no, because I don't care about the association. That's not of interest to me. I don't care about who people associate with in content or who people make shit with. You make it with a fucking like murderer for all I care. Okay, right. But be honest. Say what happened and say what you think of the actions. Give a full-throated. No, she doesn't. It's bad. What do you want me to say? Isn't good enough. You're a feminist. A woman's consent was repeatedly violated. A woman was recorded about her consent in the bedroom.
It wasn't
have a real criticism.
You would like
no, she's just not criticizing it in the way that she would criticize anyone else for the same action because it's about her boss. Obviously, if anyone else had done this sort of thing, it would be disgusting. It'd be reprehensible, immoral. But here it's a fuck up. Here it's bad. What do you want me to say?
I would say that part of the problem is that she's in a position where, like, no matter what she says, it's going to look defensive, right?
Well, unless she goes, this is fucking disgusting. I can't believe he's done this. This is the most reprehensible shit I've ever seen him do. This is actually beyond the fucking pale. This is crazy. Just say something. Say something that actually portrays the seriousness of the breaches that have been committed here. Not just, well, it's bad. It's a fuck up.
All right. Well, and again, as we go through this video, and she does do that exact thing, I will note the time.
Okay. Well,
and
I'm waiting to be surprised. Okay. I'm waiting to be surprised.
All right. Fair.
Catch you later.
Later.
Thanks for coming on.
This is BS. Who the fuck is trying to come on Bridges right now? Pausing Bridges is a cheap statement. Literally cost-free.
Hello, Informed Aussie. What would you like to say?
I just think your takes about NotSoErudite suck.
What did you say? Sorry, I didn't understand the first part.
Sorry, something's up with my voice
Okay,
today.
yeah?
Have you considered that she's hot, mate?
Yeah? I've considered it. I've disproven it.
You've disproven it.
I've disproven it, yeah.
AG4L.
I'm saying how long can you keep this up for? How long can you keep this up for? Okay. Not that long. Dude, he quit because he knew he couldn't keep the Aussie accent going. He's such a bitch. What a bitch. We got Lord Hayden as well.
Hey, what's good?
Hey, Lord Hayden, how's it going?
Not too bad.
What have you got to say tonight?
Listen, I'm just upset how Turkey Tom and Diorio are gonna get away with kind of sweeping through all this. I think Turkey Tom did a bit of a better split. I mean, Erudite, she said, coming on Turkey Tom's stream, she's like, "You're gonna be the most fair." I don't know what exactly that means. I already watched this interview.
It means he's the most pro Destiny up until this point, but yeah.
It's just complete bullshit. Yeah, her saying that she's gonna pause Bridges. Bridges is done. Who the fuck's gonna come on anymore? Yeah, that's done for. Yeah, and just one last thing. I just want to say that Nick Diorio lied. He's a big time liar.
What do you lie about?
A couple things. Well, during that stream with Chud Logic and Turkey Tom, I think they were playing COD. He was going on and on about how, DGG's, so toothless and harmless. You got to be a crazy retard for them to go after you.
Oh yeah, but then in his private call with Sunday, he says to him he's got a chokehold over his community.
I can't go against DGG. They'll tear me apart.
Yeah, he's fronting.
So that's one. And the bigger lie that no one's fucking noticing is that in that Call of Duty stream, they were playing clips from Melina talking about the leaks. He knew everything at that fucking point. Yet he's going on saying, "Oh, Melina, she's not talking about Destiny leaking. This is stuff from years ago from Leafy. Leafy, she's talking about Leafy leaks."
I do have to defend Nick here. I do believe that some of those clips it's unclear whether she is talking, because what happens is, in one of the clips, she responds to a chatter who is saying something. And she says something like, yeah, none of that stuff's consensual, so don't bring that up to me. But doesn't specify like what she's actually talking about. So I understand from that clip, if that's just portrayed as being about Destiny and people are saying that as fact, I understand being like, look, you don't actually know that that's the case. However, the issue is that in that stream, they try to muddy the waters so much. I think for me, if I have like information about something, I can still make statements about the public stuff in a way that points people generally in the right direction without disclosing the fact that I've got some crazy information that someone's told me behind the scenes. And I feel like Nick and Tom should be capable of doing that. They've been around long enough. They should be able to sort of say, you know, while I can't necessarily prove that Melina had her stuff shared without consent, it does kind of seem like at least something in there probably wasn't shared with consent. It seems a little bit weird that Destiny was sending all this stuff to people. Like, did all these people really consent? That seems very weird to me. That seems unlikely. And then they can move on. They don't have to say that Pixie. Yeah, go for it. Speak.
I'm just going to disagree with you a little bit there, respectfully, because if they had all this prior knowledge, and I mean, he knew Melina was included in those Destiny leaks.
Yep.
So for him to kind of muddy the water, that entire stream. I think you should probably go back over it, to be honest, and just replay it now that we have the knowledge of what they knew. Because for them, he talked about it on his stream, Diorio, going on about saying, oh, you know, someone asked a question or someone made a joke, and we talked about it for a couple of minutes. That stream went on for like a fucking hour of them talking about, well, not even talking about, obfuscating leaks that they knew they had prior knowledge of. And just giving these retarded schizo theories that they knew were untrue. So it was an act the whole time. That in and of itself is just a giant sweeping session.
Yeah. I think. I mean, it was obviously a sweep. Even without the information we have now, it was obviously a sweeping session. But yeah, I agree.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Great streams.
All right, no problem. Catch you later. All right, let's get back to it.
Fine with the discussion of it. I'm fine with people like talking about whether Destiny's a piece of shit. I think all of that is really valid. But what's not valid is like making Pixie's plight worse. That's not valid. And like until she decides that she wants to go public, I'm not taking that from her.
Right. So here, Fairy Queen asks, they say, do you acknowledge that Melina is claiming...
Okay, let's wind this back. I want to get context again.
More attention to there. I really...
I don't want to... I feel like I've lost it.
No.
Oh, I need to give Sunday's perms back in my Discord, don't I? There you go.
So, like, this is the biggest frustration. I don't know if you've seen the Fairy Queen leaks or whatever. I don't know why people keep saying this. They keep saying that I asked her to delete the comment, but you can...
You said, well, Kuihman is dead to me. Shunted like the common riffraff. Fatherless behavior. I just can't do dog piles every time. Every time I have a caller in, there's like someone else in the call. And it ends up just being me and someone else. Fucking JJK Boogie Woogie. Teleporting next to each other, fucking punching this guy. It's like, look, can we just talk about something instead of...
just roll this.
You got confirmation. Once you found out how her feelings were on it, what was your goal past that point? Was it just to help Pixie out? Was it to protect Destiny from the allegations?
No. So, like, this is the biggest frustration. I don't know if you've seen the Fairy Queen leaks or whatever. I don't know why people keep saying this. They keep saying that I asked her to delete the comment, but you can just read my message. I explicitly tell her I'm messaging her because I don't want her to remove the comment. I want her to remove the identifying piece where she talks about like friends, because I don't want anything that could narrow it to Pixie.
Hi, Sunday.
What utterly fatherless conduct.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
I can't just have you in here like raping some random caller with just 2v1.
Yeah, you're afraid of the caller. That's who you're... Okay, I understand.
Well, what did you want to come on and say, Sunday? What do you want to talk about?
Nothing.
Okay.
You'll never know. That's it. It's over.
Okay.
It's over. The threshold's been crossed, boy.
Okay.
Because the main thing that Pixie has said to me over and over is the publicity piece. So the only thing that I have cared about, by and large, has been following what Pixie feels that she needs in that moment, right? Listening to like what she's asking for. There are certain things it's possible that she could ask me to do where I'd be like, I'm not comfortable facilitating this, right? But saying something like, please don't make my name public. Please don't address it publicly. And please like try to keep it as quiet as possible. 110% I'm going to do that. Like, no question.
So
And
you say
if
the
you look at
Fairy
the Fairy
Queen
Queen
leaks,
message-
do you mean is this message, right? Let me just to confirm with you.
Yes. So if you
Okay.
read,
Well, go watch live stream VODs for Kuihman. You can go to my YouTube page and go to playlists, and there is a VODs playlist where all the VODs are unlisted in that playlist.
you're mad, that's fair. Your comment is kind of confirming that it's them, which they're denying and drawing more attention to their. I'd really appreciate if you considered removing that part of your comment, right? Just that part. And there's a reason that I didn't just delete it immediately, because I'm fine with the discussion of it. I'm fine with people like talking about whether Destiny's a piece of shit. I think all of that is really valid. But what's not valid is like making Pixie's plight worse. That's not valid. And like until she decides that she wants to go public, I'm not taking
all
that
for
from her.
Pixie. All for
Right.
Pixie.
So here, Fairy Queen asks, they say, do you acknowledge that Melina is claiming Steven shared these videos without her consent? Have you confronted Steven about this? Will you dissociate from him for sharing another woman's sex tapes without her consent? You said, gotcha.
It's a great point. I actually haven't shelled since the stream started. Great point, Bug. Guys, we have 1,290 people here right now. Absolutely massive, awesome stuff. Love to see everyone here. However, with such a high view count comes a large discrepancy between the amount of people watching the stream right now and the amount of people liking the stream right now. So, guys, if you wouldn't mind, I'm just reminding you, okay, please move your cursor, thumbs up, and click it. You know what else is massive? A low tape effect, okay? Please, guys, move your cursor, thumbs up, and click it. Or press the thumbs up on your mobile device. That'd be hugely appreciated, okay? Very awesome. We love getting likes on the stream. Now, if you want to take your support one step further, you can donate directly through a Stream Moments link in the pinned chat message. Very important, because YouTube do not take a cut from any of those donos. I've seen the low taper fade me myself, actually. I've seen the ninja shit on fucking Instagram, okay, dude. Stream Moments link. Very awesome way to send me money, because YouTube do not take that 30% cut, which we hate so much. Now, if you prefer the convenience of YouTube, you can buy a membership through YouTube. We love memberships because they build up a baseline of income, a baseline of recurring income for the channel every month I can always rely on. But if you've already got a membership, you can gift a membership. You can gift 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, crazy amounts of memberships, make a really hype moment in chat. We love seeing memberships in the chat. You can also buy a super chat, which will highlight your message and read it out on TTS if it's over $5, or buy a super sticker, which is a YouTube image or GIF that we highlight in chat, and I'll describe it to you. You can go to discord.gg/Kuihman, twitter.com/Kuihman, or reddit.com/r/Kuihman. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the 10 gifted, Biblical Echo Angel. Thank you for the membership, McMad. And thank you for the 279, Joshua Asokanthan. Thank you. Sunday thinks he's the drink. He's just the drunk. Okay.
I'm not an extension of Steven. You're not a feminist, and you blocked her. What were you blocking her because it seemed like she wasn't going to edit her comment, or because you didn't want to answer these questions publicly? Like, what was the concern here, I guess?
It basically seems like, so Fairy Queen and I have a history, just to be clear. A really weird history, where she constantly is accusing me of things and then coming to me behind the scenes to like help with suicidality or certain things. And the reality is that if somebody's life is at risk and they need help, I'm just going to give it. I'm always going to give it. And so Fairy Queen
like
at this point
tuna chip.
had 2 separate interactions where she had come to me because somebody she knew or a friend of hers was suicidal, and she was looking for like steps about how to handle it. And I helped her every single time. One of the times was also a mutual friend, like Xena. All that stuff is very, very public. I did a lot of the similar stuff with Xena. I met up with her. I think with Xena, I actually spent a night at her house just to like keep her safe when she was really distressed. Xena, I also did like multiple safety calls for her, or like.
Thank you for the €5 super sticker of a Shiba Inu dog going higher. Thank you, thank you.
I reported like as she was attempting like to the police and stuff like that. So Fairy Queen has this weird dynamic where she keeps coming to me for help with stuff, which I'm always willing to. But then she'll also be like, but why are you such a piece of shit? Why are you friends with Destiny? He's a horrible person. And I'm just like, look, like if somebody needs help, I'm always willing to. There's lots of things I disagree with Steven about. But yes, I'm still
like, I disagree with Steven about his recording women in his bedroom without their consent.
willing to work with him. So that's part of what's driving this. When she like sent all those questions, I was like, oh, so every time she said like one thing that she really cares about is women, I don't know if I believe her, because it seems like she's
Thank you for the
willing
$1.99 pair super sticker. Thank you, Butters. Thank
to
you.
hurt Pixie to like get at Steven. And I'm not interested. And at that point I blocked her and deleted the comment.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, with that out of the way, I think the thing I wanted to go over next would be all the text messages between you and Pixie that got leaked. Now, before we get into that, I guess my question would be from you. Do you know the way that these text messages, it looks like iMessage, do you know the way these texts got leaked? How did this end up getting out? Who was this sent to that ended up sending it to someone that ended up getting it publicly?
You are the only one who saw past Destiny BS. You have done good. We need more people like you.
Thank you for the $4. Thank you. Hugely appreciate it.
There's a chain of events here.
It sounds like Pixie sent it to Aaron, trying to basically this is what Kyla's saying. Pixie and I have talked. She's also willing. Her and Aaron aren't talking anymore. But she is willing to if need be. Obviously, she wants to be as publicly implicated as possible. So if you need it, you can probably reach out. But also, I don't have it because I didn't ask for it. But basically, she was constantly telling Aaron what do you think about this? This is what Kyla's suggesting. And Aaron was saying I think she's being sneaky, and Pixie was being I don't think she's being sneaky. So I think the only text she has is because those are the specific screenshots that Pixie sent to Aaron. I'm not 100% confident. From my understanding, Aaron directly leaked them to Sunday. I think Beckett of Crabs or whatever, he covers all the leaks on stream. It sounds like Sunday got them directly from her. I don't know how Beckett got them. I think some people are saying it. I think it might have been through Smugbug because Aaron's good friends with Smugbug. I don't know though. I have no idea how Beckett got
Smugbug mentioned in a Turkey Tom video. Crazy.
The DMs, and I don't know if Nicholas got it from.
No, I think you did do that. No, I think you did do that. Actually, I think Smugbug gave them to Beckett.
Beckett or from Sunday or what the transaction is after that. I have no idea.
Okay, and I haven't seen Pixie directly talk about Sunday or I guess maybe Bad
you can't trust
Empanada,
Smugbug,
someone
guys.
that people
Do
are
not send
talking
him
about
anything
right now. But I saw her. Just let me find her tweet real quick. In her thread, she had said something to the effect of let me see here. I've got it. Okay, so she said, "If you're a leftist who has talked about the situation without so much as contacting me, you owe me an apology. On top of being a victim of revenge, I now have to deal with people lying about my dating life and further dehumanization of me. I know I shouldn't elaborate more, but I think one of the worst parts of what's happened is learning how so many people I genuinely thought were my friends are so easily willing to betray me. I don't understand what I've done to them to make them want to treat me like."
Thank you for $20, Nate. I want to become a fan of Sunday, but he's Canadian, which we all know is basically French. I also want to have a deeper appreciation of Mr. Girl, but his continued association with Smith proves his poor judgment. Am I wrong? I mean, I don't want to disagree with any specific points in there. I don't necessarily agree, but I'm not going to pick it apart. Thank you for the $20.
Like this. So do you know who she's talking about here? Or is she not willing to?
I'm speculating it's Aaron. I didn't ask her specifically. I would speculate Aaron. I know she's feeling, she basically, I called her asking.
On top of being a victim of revenge, I now have to deal with people lying about my dating life and further dehumanization of me. I know I shouldn't elaborate more, but I think one of the worst parts of what's happened is learning how so many people I genuinely thought were my friends are so easily willing to betray me. I don't understand what I've done to them to make them want to treat me like this. So do you know who she's talking about here? Or is she not willing to?
I'm speculating it's Aaron. I didn't ask her specifically. I would speculate Aaron. I know she's feeling, she basically, I called her tonight and she was like, "Kyla, I'm so sorry." And I was like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, Aaron backstabbed me. So I'm assuming it's Aaron. And Aaron is a leftist, but I genuinely have no idea. I would assume though.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, do you want to get into the text?
Sure. I think it's probably worth saying because I think people are the biggest question people have is why I'm sticking around Destiny. And so I just want to answer that question, I think, a little bit more extensively, which is if something else comes out about the leaks, which is more pernicious or criminal, I realize I probably won't, but I don't engage with friendships in the way that it feels like people are kind of expecting me to, maybe in the public. I'm really staunch about rehabilitation and journeys and processes, which means that if I have a friend who's done a bad thing, they're not dead to me. I'm not just going to drop them immediately. I'm going to confront them, usually in a way that I think.
Again, this is exactly what I mean, right? It's all well and good having this mindset I'm fine with people having the mindset of, I don't care if a friend does bad things. I don't base friendships based on their moral character. I do it based on whether I find them interesting to talk to and whether I think they've got any worth to them. It's fine to be like that, but you have to offer an honest and a accurate condemnation of a behavior that falls outside of your stated values. And Erudite refuses constantly to do this. It is all just, Destiny's just a poor, traumatized little guy. No, he is engaged in disgusting behavior.
I probably won't, but I don't engage with friendships in the way that it feels like people are kind of expecting me to, maybe in the public. I'm really staunch about like rehabilitation and like journeys and processes, which means that like if I have a friend who's done a bad thing, they're not like dead to me. I'm not just going to drop them immediately. I'm going to confront them, usually in a way that I think is most productive, particularly if they've done something that I think not just violates like my values, but their own values. This isn't the first time I've confronted Stephen on different things. It's just the biggest thing that I've confronted
him on.
this
is the other thing she says as well, isn't it? She says she only cares if her friends break their values, not if they break hers.
There's been multiple times, like even in this like cutie Cinderella drama where we started like making fun of her.
I've heard her say that before.
Why are you doing this? Like, this isn't your values. Like, this is something you don't believe in. He's like, yeah, you're right. Right? So I think if everyone just disowns people immediately for wrongdoing, like nothing works. I have like...
Okay, be honest.
Like, my entire dream is to like work with...
Kuihman's running from the journeys and processes question. What? Are you staunch about journeys and processes? Yeah, man, I'm all about journeys and processes.
High risk, like my entire career previous to this was working with like drug addicts and juvenile delinquents. Like people have done really, really fucking bad shit. And so I don't know. I understand why people may be confused because maybe they don't feel similar, and I don't put this on anybody else.
Guys, it's just like Destiny, really. Destiny's just like one of the kids that her and Nick used to have to look after at the camp. Okay? He's just like one of these poor, fucked up kids in a 35-year-old man's body. It's one of these poor, fucked up kids being abused, being neglected by their parents in a 35-year-old man's body.
Yeah, it's like nobody else has to orient themselves towards Stephen or anyone else who's done something wrong like I do. But basically, the moment that I saw like remorsefulness, accountability, and like a step-by-step plan of like how he was going to correct the issue, that's when I was like, okay, I can still work with this person, because it's like the try and the accountability that matters to me.
You can't take, there's no accountability if you don't admit what you did. Even to Erudite, he never admitted what he did. He said, probably. He said, I probably did that. Even to Erudite, he did not admit it in private.
Not just like the actions alone.
So I think that, you know, that's somewhat understandable from, you know, a friendship perspective. I think that the thing that people are going to bring up, though, is that you guys aren't just friends. You're business partners, and he's not just any business partner. He is, you know, a massive liberal commentator who's constantly making moral judgments about other people's actions and behaviors.
Yeah, Vlad. She said that when she confronted Destiny about whether he sent Pixie's video without consent, he said, I don't know, probably.
Meanwhile, he's got this going on.
That is accountability, by the way. That's accountability, by the way, guys.
I mean, I think a big part of it is, like, I think this really calls into question.
He's very remorseful. He really cares.
You know,
okay?
Like if he even has a right to criticize other people's character and morals when, I mean, you know, it's one thing to be...
Nope, don't want to hear Destiny calling anyone a rapist or talking about any about shit like that again. Never want to hear it again.
You know, to have everything else that he's done before, which
certainly don't want to hear him saying about Mr. Girl. That's for fucking certain.
There's a lot. Let's be honest, there's a lot, but I think this rivals all of that definitely in terms of severity, and it calls into question, you know, his respect for other people's consent to, you know, their own news being leaked.
Do you think Chud could ever forgive Max? I would say no, because he tried to get Chud's channel deleted, but then Sunday was on sort of a similar beat back in the day. And he seems to have come around to Sunday, so, I mean, who knows?
It's like, you know, now how can anyone possibly feel bad for him for getting his news leaked when he was doing that to someone else? You know, there's a lot of questions around this. And, I mean, you know, even on top of that, I mean, he's trying to be a serious political activist and commentator, and he's, you know, running around, messing around with all these Discord girls.
It's based on something, okay.
And I mean, this is not, you know, to be clear, Pixie's not the only person who's been affected by this. I mean, there's been Lauren, obviously. you know, in a different way, but he was sending messages not too long ago that they had shared together.
Thank you.
Confidence that ended up getting and he's, you know, running around, messing around with all these.
Yeah, true. Sunday and Chad, sorry, Max and Chad were closer than Sunday and Chad was. It's a bit of a bigger betrayal.
Discord girls sending. And I mean, this is not, you know, to be clear, Pixie's not the only person who's been affected by this.
He also said to Erudite, I didn't think she would care, apparently.
I mean, there's been Lauren, obviously, you know, in a different way, but he was sending messages not too long ago that they had shared together, seemingly in confidence, that ended up getting leaked. There's Melina's allegation, obviously, his ex-wife, who he, you know, kind of painted as like a absolute crazy person. Then there's this going on. So it's like, you know, there's like, it kind of calls into question. I mean, even people are saying like, oh, Mr. Girl was right. You know, it calls into question his entire history in a way. I mean,
Let's go.
You know, it's not just a question of
someone dishonestly clip that. I need someone dishonestly clipping Turkey Tom saying Mr. Girl was right.
You and him are just buddies, right? You're business partners. He's a public figure. He's a public commentator where he talks about other people's actions. Like, do you think that's a huge concern?
Yeah, but the issue, it just is no longer like, the issue is like, this isn't a moral concern. This is now like...
Okay, guys, I need to, okay, for like 2 seconds, okay? Let's get back into this. Let's go back to Erudite.
Business advice. Like, if anyone said, do you think it's bad business strat? Probably to some degree, I suppose. Like, it's probably better that I diversify and like look elsewhere because he is a brand risk. The issue is that like Steven does bad things. Steven was a piece of shit. He was negligent in this situation.
Okay.
Right?
Was a piece of shit.
But
was a piece of shit.
Did your thumbnail refer to Mr. Lip's size or the amount of his sweeping?
It's a double entendre. Thank you for the $5. Okay, so she said was a piece of shit. She quickly threw that one out there. Was a piece of shit in the situation. Was a piece of shit in the situation. Okay, we're almost there. Let's see how she continues this. See how she goes.
Bad things. Steven was a piece of shit. He was negligent in this situation, right?
Was a piece of shit. Was negligent in the situation. There's the downplaying. There's the downplaying. Negligent. Wasn't negligent. He consciously violated your friend's consent. Consciously violated your friend's consent to multiple of your friend's consent, I believe. Well, Cherry's not a friend. People you know, acquaintances, violated the consent of multiple of your acquaintances consciously. Not as a little accident. Not as like a whoops. I'm carrying this vase and I just slipped on a banana peel and I dropped the vase and it smashed. No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. He consciously violated consent.
He wasn't trying to hurt anyone, but he should have known better, and he does know better. And actions have consequences. And the reality is, like, I wanted this.
No, he wasn't trying to hurt her necessarily, that we know, that we can prove. He wasn't trying to hurt her, but he didn't care if she got hurt. He didn't give a fuck if she got hurt.
I wanted to see this resolve in a better way for everyone, right? That's obviously like what I wanted. But when I was thinking about essentially like how I want to manage friendship versus business, I basically decided that when it comes to like business and friendship, there are certain...
Nope, it's not negligence. It's not remotely negligence. Because the action was done intentionally. Even if it wasn't done with the intent to harm, the action was done intentionally. Negligence means you're engaging in a behavior and you can, if it fucks up, you could harm someone. Destiny engaged in a deliberate action that he knew would harm.
Things that I have to draw the line on because I want to run like a treatment center in the future. And I like, even friendships can't come before that. Because that's why I'm in social media, is to like gain the money and the network necessary to fund that without having to rely on like churches, basically. But I also decided that I want to act with my friends in the streaming world the way that I would act if the public eye wasn't like looking at everyone and there wasn't like optics and narratives that I had to like obsess with.
Dude, this is so fucking retarded. What a fucking stupid thing to say. I want to engage with streaming as if there's no public look, but you are in public. And the things you do in public have real effects.
I feel like
the reason people act differently in public is because your actions have different effects when they are in public. I can say to a friend in private, yeah, I think that bitch is lying. I think that bitch is lying about you. But if I go out in public and say, I think that bitch is lying about you, That is a narrative that is now going against an accusation that is being made against my friend. The reason people behave differently in public is because being in public makes the action different. Even Destiny will acknowledge this. Destiny has this whole private versus public language delineation, the whole N-word jokes and private thing, right? This is not a concept that you're unfamiliar with. You do have an elevated level of responsibility with your statements and shit in public. Yes, obviously. That's just true.
So much of relationships on the internet get monetized in a way that just like leads to this like incredible like loneliness and isolation. And I'm just not willing to do that to my friends. And so like business strategy wise, would it be better if I like drop Destiny or not? Like there's probably be arguments on either side. There's probably some people would be like, actually it wouldn't because he's such a huge platform.
It literally depends. He is your easiest and safest route to huge amounts of money. The more the public backlash piles up, the more stupid it is for you to have your wagon hitched to him because it prevents you from having a career after your relationship with him ends. But obviously, up until the tipping point, it is always going to be best to be closely associated with Destiny.
Actually, it would because he's such a brand risk. And I think all of that's valid. But I think fundamentally the question that I've been operating with in this whole situation...
If you act the same in public and private, why is the leaking of nudes bad?
So true. Thank you for $5.
To this point has been, how do I want to conduct myself with my friends? Like, how would I treat my friends if there wasn't going to be public scrutiny on top of this? Because, I don't know, I guess that's the only way I can sleep myself and, like...
The N-word is legal again after Jan 20th? Not in my country.
In my mind, like, have some level of, like, consistency in how I treat people, because my friendship is going to be determined fundamentally by, like, who's in trouble now, right? And I don't know if you ever, like, watch the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp stuff, but it's like, who's in trouble now shouldn't be the way, if I was close to Amber Heard or to Johnny Depp, shouldn't be the way that I engage with them as, like, a friend. I should try to figure out, like, what happened, what went wrong, what do you feel accountable for, and, like, trying to get as much information as possible, and speaking out when your friends do something wrong.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, I think it'd be good to get into the text. Is it about time, you think?
Yeah, you can do that.
All right. So the first one we have here, I'm just going in order from the Beckett video, is this one where looks like Pixie says, "Did you end up talking to Steven?" And you say, "Not yet. Coleman canceled, so I ended up not coming in, but we'll be there Saturday." You're hinging a lot of my conversation with him. Other than what I mentioned, is there anything you were hoping to be brought up? So is this prior to you? Is this in between when you met with her in person and when you were going to talk to him about this stuff?
There we go. Okay, found it. Okay, did you end up blah, blah, blah? No, not yet. Let me see. Other than what is mentioned, is there anything you were hoping to be brought up? Does it continue on? I'm not sure what's leaked.
Yeah, let me see here. So I don't know. It looks like a lot of it's not totally in order. The next one I have is a very long one, where it's her saying, "I think I'm going to decide my next course of action of what to do with myself and him based on how that conversation goes. Unless if you decide you don't want to talk to him, that's okay too." That looks like the next one that I have. I'll check the Beckett video one more time to see if there's one in between these two, but I think that these are, at least from the video, these are the ones that I have in order.
I'm just sending to you this order just because there's no like names mentioned in here.
Yeah, so the first one I have is, "Did you end up talking to Steven?" Okay, so
these are all public anyways, I think, right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. So this is your perspective. She says, "I'm thinking to decide my next course of action of what to do with myself and him based on how that conversation goes. Unless if you decide you want to talk to him, that's okay too. Basically, I have my plans and course of action paused, and we'll choose something depending on if he agrees he has to make up and repent for the actions and wants to work with me to find a way to do that, or if he doesn't feel that way. I don't want to talk to him myself because I feel like I tried explaining what I was feeling and he didn't really understand. I also have a little anxious voice in my brain telling me to prepare for the worst because he probably won't care or doesn't care enough to willingly try to make up for his mistakes, and that means I'll have to start thinking of more extreme and nuclear options to deal with. But I'm trying to avoid spiraling down that line of thought because I'm trying to hold out hope." And then she says, and is this directly the next message, this one that you show? Where she says, "And just to not scare you"?
Yes, that's directly next.
Okay. Just not scare you. I'm 100% not going to do anything to myself no matter what he says during holiday season because I don't want to traumatize my friends during a time I'm supposed to be happy. And even if he responds negatively, it doesn't mean I'll auto-kill myself. I'm trying to contemplate all different courses of action, including going public. And then if I can't take the amount of public humiliation, then myself versus my plan before of scheduling a note for after I die. I'm also still looking into lawyers, but I just want to see what he says before deciding to do any nuclear option.
You know, in fairness to Sunday, I don't think he should have taken the risk, but I think he did have the right read that Pixie wasn't going to kill himself. As far as I'm aware, usually people who are, like, actually going to do it, when they do it, it's typically, like, impulsive in the moment. That's why having guns is, like, such a big thing for suicidality, because they are very likely to just do it in the moment. People very rarely plan it out. Also, women are very bad at committing suicide. Yeah, I mean, it's irrelevant. Yeah, Sunday still shouldn't have done what he did, but I'm just like, it just came to me. I'm just reading these messages and it came to me.
And you say, can I share this with Steve? He communicated to me. He knows he fucked up. There's no excuse at all. And he doesn't know what he can do to make it up. I'm trying to bridge between to help him understand what would make you feel that he understood he was wrong and should never do this again. So, I mean, this is essentially just you guys talking about how to take the next step. Her talking about her suicidality, and how this is making her feel.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any confusion. The reason I'm asking if I can share this with Steven is explicitly because the biggest issue in all this is her consent has been violated. So when I'm saying, can I share this with Steven, I'm getting her consent to, like, screen cap it and send it to Steven. Okay,
gotcha. Yep. Let's see here. So the next one I have here is, it looks like it is you saying, gotcha, thanks for not sugarcoating anything about where you're at. I think what we talked about as what you needed is help removing the video from online, getting the guy who hacked charged, and a sense that Steven understands how in the wrong he was and a plan to prevent this from ever happening again. Is that what you feel you need?
So in between that, what's missing, I'm not sure if you don't have it. So after I say, can I share this with Steven, he communicated to me.
Well, okay, just something to check. I'm sure that if someone has a plan themselves, they're more likely to do it than someone who doesn't have a plan. However, as far as I understand, most people who do it do not do it in a considered, calculated way according to a plan. They do it as a moment of impulse when they're feeling particularly bad. That's my understanding. That's my understanding.
He knows he fucked up, blah, 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 the thing you read. Or better, what can I share with him? So I like re-clarify. She says, you can share this and anything you want with him. I feel like when we talked, you really understood where I was coming from and can hopefully explain this better than I can. That is in between. So after she says that she feels like I understand her and I can communicate better, that she appreciates it, I say, gotcha. Thanks for not sugarcoating anything and where you're at.
Do you mind if I see that one that you described?
Yep. I tried to send it, but I'll send it again. Okay, so this is all of them in order, and then I sent.
Thank you for the membership.
So the last one is going to be, I think it's like, yeah, it's like the.
Yeah. Also, people need to stop stating it as fact that this was a hack as well. Even Destiny isn't doing that anymore. Very funny that I noticed. If you look in his statement, he actually calls it a leak. He doesn't call it a hack. Very interesting.
Second or third one. So this context sounds like it's missing.
So this is the in-between one, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Pixie says you can share this and anything you want with him. I felt like when we talked, you really understood where I was coming from. And can hopefully explain this better than I can. Okay, so, and just to be clear here, again, you think that Destiny should face some punishment for this? You don't think that this is, you weren't trying to mitigate any kind of consequence for him?
No.
Do you think you were trying to mitigate any kind of consequence for yourself by maybe steering her in a direction where it wouldn't be made public?
I don't know. I don't know what consequence there would be for myself.
Well, obviously, it would negatively reflect on you if the guy you're working with is exposed for doing this kind of shit. It kind of, you know, guilt by association type thing makes you look shitty.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, the issue is, like, I guess I'm going to say, no, I actually wasn't thinking about it that much. A lot of people ask me, which is why I spend the time thinking and, like, wrote in my journal, like, the way that I operate with people has to be about relationships and, like, the things that I value, my principles, not because of, like, business stuff or I'm going to hate myself. Like, I don't want to do all this. Like, I don't want a treatment center that helps kids if I have to, like, buck over my friends and, like, stop caring about them to, like, do, like, that's not the point of this.
Too late.
But obviously, that's also my word, so I don't know if I can convince you of that. But yeah, it wasn't forefront. It was something that I just basically, I had to, like, pick editors more. Like, she gets to do what she would like to do.
$5 says, if Sunday didn't publish, what are the chances someone would be grooming Pixie into money for an NDA? I don't know. I don't know. Destiny didn't seem interested in NDA, to be fair. I don't think they were interested in NDAing, but then it also possibly because it may not be upheld and then might just get exposed anyway, and it would look fucking terrible to try to get someone to sign an NDA. So, I mean, who knows?
Okay, gotcha. All right. Do you? I guess, what do you think is a proportional response? I've seen some conversation around how the idea of her getting $1 million is too much, or maybe, I don't know, a few $100,000 is too little. What do you think is like adequate restitution for this kind of thing? Just kind of your personal opinion, I guess.
What I told Steven so this isn't, just to be clear, this is what I did Steven just between him and I, was specifically, I was like, you should pay for her therapy. You need to cover like all of the expenses that are like investigating the leak. And if she has any expenses regarding like clearing her images off the internet, if she has to pay for any like internet scrubbers or anything like that, you need to cover all of those costs. And if she comes to you with other costs that are going to be related to this, you need to cover them as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The only other thing that I could think of would be like, obviously, some level of public, like, yes, I fucked up, but obviously that's completely off the table because she doesn't want any public acknowledgement.
Right. Well, it was at that point in time, but now, I mean, it's been publicly acknowledged, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, do you think it would be good for him to make a public acknowledgement of wrongdoing at some point?
If legal suits weren't going on, probably. The issue is like, now I don't even know if he can, because his there's no way his legal counsel will sign off on him making a public statement like that. There's no way.
Right.
Which really sucks. Yeah.
Right.
Which sucks for her specifically.
But okay, there's no way his legal counsel would sign off on it. Did his legal counsel sign off on the statement he made on his subreddit? Did they really sign off on that when it included a screenshot of him admitting fault, basically? I don't believe a lawyer signed off on that statement. It seemed very dumb. It seemed like thrown together, like he thought he could just beat it with his epic giga brain.
Basically, yeah.
Right. Okay. Let me see here. I think there was a specific DM that I wanted to bring out. Let me just go through these real quick.
Oh, I don't know if you saw like one of the
yeah. A lawyer would sign off on the post title. What was it? Legal arc beginning in mysterious ways. Such wow. Yeah, you ran that one by the lawyer.
Included, but when she mentioned specifically the money, the reason that I clarify, I think that's like just a little bit down in the thread. So after I say, gotcha, thanks for not sugarcoating, I list the 3 things that she wants to make sure that I'm understanding what she wants communicated. She outlines the problem with number 3 is because with the removal of the video and the guy getting hacked, Steven has to face consequences proportional to his actions. And so I say, okay, so what you want to, okay, so that is what you want. It wasn't clear to me before. This is what you wanted specifically. My understanding was more rehabilitation, but the specific thing you want now, which is for him to lose a certain amount of money. This wasn't like in a judgmental way. This is specifically because when her and I sat at the cafe, she was like talking about the money, but she's like, fuck, I don't even care about the money. She's like, I just want some sort of consequence so that if he like ever thinks about doing this again, he won't, right?
But that's the same thing she's saying here, because she clarifies on the next message that she cares that it can go to charity for all she cares. Oh, but what had changed? You're not saying what had changed here.
This wasn't like
you are just trying to soft discourage her from taking action. What?
Okay, so that is what you want. It wasn't clear to me before. This is what you wanted specifically. My understanding was more rehabilitation, but the specific thing you want now, which is for him to lose a certain amount of money. This wasn't like in a judgmental.
So, okay, here's what she says. Yeah, the problem is number 3, because even with the removal of the video and getting the guy hacked charged, Steven still has to face consequences proportionate to his actions. I want this to be the most expensive mistake of his life, and I'm essentially asking him to self-punish himself in a way I don't think he will like or agree to without the law involved. I don't have a dollar amount from the top of my head, it just has to be enough that for the rest of his life, if he thinks of the word nude, he associates it with the amount of money he lost. Obviously, I don't want to make him destitute, but it should be large enough that he does feel upset about it. It is not easily recoverable. So what did she say in the meeting with Erudite?
This is specifically because when her and I sat at the cafe, she was like talking about the money, but she's like, fuck, I don't even care about the money. She's like,
talking about the money, but I don't care about the money. So she's saying, so what that sounds like is like similar to the charity thing, right? She doesn't care about receiving a certain amount of money. She just wants to make sure there's punishment for Destiny.
I just want some sort of consequence so that if he like ever thinks about doing this again, he won't, right? I just like want some essentially like level of punishment. And when I was like, do you want money specific, like what specific? specifically are you asking for? If I'm like talking to him like on your behalf, like what are you looking for? At the time, she didn't say specifically money. It was just one thing she thought.
No, you're fucking stupid, Seven Deadly Sins. What are you talking about? He admitted that he leaked privately. The lawyer only cares about the public leak. These things are very specific. No, a lawyer would absolutely, if Destiny has retained legal counsel, if someone is threatening a lawsuit against him, they would not encourage him or allow him, if it's passed through them, to post something that shows him admitting fault to the thing he's being accused of in that lawsuit, right? The statement was replying to Pixie's announcement of a lawsuit. Why would a lawyer, if he has passed this through legal counsel, why would a lawyer allow him to post an admission of fault in that lawsuit?
Thought of, right? I just like want some essentially like level of punishment. And when I was like, do you want money specific? Like what specifically are you asking for? If I'm like talking to him like on your behalf, like what are you looking for? At the time, she didn't say specifically money. It was just one thing she thought of, but she wasn't bent on it. This is me clarifying because we had that conversation that specifically what she's wanting now is for him to lose money because that's different than what I had understood before.
But okay, as much as she might have not been totally set on the money idea, she made it very clear that she wanted punishment, right? What Erudite says in these DMs is, oh, I thought you were more about rehabilitation. I'm not too sure about this. So that is absolutely Erudite trying to talk Pixie down from punishment. Not just from money, not just saying she can't handle money. She's trying to talk her down from punishment.
What she's wanting now is for him to lose money because that's different than what I had understood before.
Yeah, we got this DM. Let's see here. Need to think about it then because I'm happy to communicate what you need broadly is a sense of justice. I'm not sure what I think about the specifics of money and punishment in this case. Not saying you're wrong. It's just the tone has changed from our previous conversation. So this is you just kind of dealing with her sort of not totally knowing what she wants at the time, which I guess is fair from her.
Well, specifically when I started hearing, so I think at this point we've had a phone call maybe once or twice, and I start hearing the $1 million amount. And I'm not comfortable with that. I don't think I don't think that's going to give her anything that she's looking for. I know that she's never going to receive it. I don't think that that's like a good direction for her to go, if I'm being honest. But also, if that's the direction she wants to go, she should. The main thing is I can't be I can't be the one communicating that. I can't mediate that because that's now like one of my friends asking like for $1 million from another one of my friends. And it's not something that I necessarily like feel comfortable with. So I'm saying in this specifically, like, I'm not sure if I'm comfortable communicating this part because it's now different than I understood, but I was comfortable communicating everything else to him.
Okay. Yeah. And because she says, I'm not sure about the specifics regarding money or punishment. I believe in rehabilitation.
So did she make that clear so again, there's so many questions here. Did you make that clear in your initial meeting with her? If you're asking for money, I won't be able to help you. Did you make that clear with her in your initial meeting? Or is this just something that you said to her once she started more firmly deciding on that course of action?
But part of rehabilitation is penance. The person understands what they did is wrong, takes corrective course of actions and actions to help pay penance to the victims. So I mean, and then I think the following one here is she says, I just want to know he'll never do this again. And this is like the biggest mistake of his life, basically.
Yeah. I'm sorry for using you as an intermediary. I can send these messages and conversation to him myself too. I just feel like if he tells me too directly, it would be emotionally harder to handle than if I heard it from you, but I totally understand if that's not something you're comfortable with, and I'm sorry to put you in an uncomfortable position. He's also alluded to financial compensation, but I don't think he really understood the concept of proportionality of the action since he asked if there were any bills that he could pay.
Let's see here. So we've got this message you sent. Let's see here. It looks like her talking about the idea of maybe taking it criminal, but that she didn't want to do that because the justice system is horrible. She says, starts with willing to figure out what this means to both of us / in a manner that makes sense to both of us. I don't want to cause unnecessary harm or suffering to Steven. I want to know he'll never do this again. I think it would be the most effective method of doing so, or jail, but I don't want him to go through criminal court because one, our justice system is horrible, getting people to change their behavior, and I feel like it'll be overkill, but I totally understand if you don't want to talk to Steven about this. I'm just putting it off because the answer is either one, yes, I agree with this course of action. Let's talk about what this would look like in a way that makes sense for both of us, or two, no, I don't agree. I don't want to do that, which then it becomes an, okay, now I have to go to court and figure this out. So we've got that. Yeah, I think that's the majority of the stuff from you specifically to go over. So the reason why I said fuck Erudite and fuck Destiny is essentially, I guess in my mind, this is a little too far for me to want to be I don't know, buddies with someone, seeing that they sent a chick's nudes around. I mean, you know, maybe if he was like 16 years old and it was in high school, I would be like, okay, well, I don't know. 16-year-olds are fucking retarded, but I don't know. He just seems a little bit too old to be doing this, in my opinion. It seems to be an extremely precarious situation he's constantly getting himself into with his dick, with these random women. It just seems like very bad. And I guess I do see what this means to both of us, taking it criminal, but that she didn't want to do that because the justice system is horrible. She says, starts with willing to figure out.
So I thought I was fucking muted. All I said was I literally didn't say anything because I AFK'd. My brain AFK'd. I had to run it back because I just fucking was reading something on the monitor. But I was about to respond to a chat message. Where'd it go? Guarantee that both Diorio and Tom are still friendly with Destiny behind the scenes. So I don't know Tom particularly well. I've only spoken to him a couple times, so I don't know. Nick, as far as I know, has never been friendly with Destiny behind the scenes. They spoke like once or twice and were on stream once or twice. They've never had like a friendly relationship or like a rapport behind the scenes, as far as I'm aware. I've spoken to Nick about this, and that's what I've always heard. So, you know, I don't think that's true. It could be true about Tom. I don't know, but I do not think it's true about Nick at all.
Out what this means to both of us / in a manner that makes sense to both of us. I don't want to cause unnecessary harm or suffering to Steven. I want to know he'll never do this again. I think it would be the most effective method of doing so, or jail, but I don't want him to go through criminal court because one, our justice system is horrible, getting people to change their behavior, and I feel like it would be overkill, but I totally understand if you don't want to talk to Steven about this. I'm just putting it off because the answer is either one, yes, I agree with this course of action, let's talk about what this would look like in a way that makes sense for both of us, or two, no, I don't agree, I don't want to do that, which then it becomes an, okay, now I have to go to court and figure this out. So we've got that. Yeah, I think that's the majority of the stuff from you specifically to go over. So the reason why I said fuck Erudite and fuck Destiny is essentially, I guess in my mind, this is a little too far for me to want to be, I don't know, buddies with someone, seeing that they sent a chick's nudes around. I mean, you know, maybe if he was like 16 years old and it was in high school, I would be like, okay, well.
Yeah, exactly. This is like a one thing to be like a retarded, like I was showing off to my friends as a teenager and did something fucking stupid. It's one thing to do that. It's a different thing to be a 35-year-old man doing this as a pattern.
I don't know. 16-year-olds are fucking retarded, but I don't know. He just seems a little bit too old to be doing this, in my opinion. It seems to be an extremely precarious situation he's constantly getting himself into with his dick, with these random women. It just seems like very bad. And I guess I do see it as very, you know, I understand you're trying to help Pixie out, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I don't think he's someone to be taken very seriously, or honestly, you by extension for, you know, trying to, I don't know, like sticking by him throughout all this, and like, you know, I don't know. I guess it just leaves a very, very bad taste in my mouth. I guess it's something that's hard to communicate. It's a little bit of an emotional thing, but I think that's how a lot of people are feeling. It's just like, it's a very fucked up situation. It's very fucked up.
Yeah. I think that's fair. And I think if people feel like they can't associate with him anymore, I genuinely understand that. Like, that's not something I would criticize others for. And I think there are others that are in your position. I just understand. That's just fundamentally like not where I'm at. I'm not willing to for this specific thing. And it's also something like Pixie and I have talked about, like at some level of length. I don't know if it's meaningful, but like one thing
No, stop bringing up what Pixie was. You're here to address your actions. Stop using Pixie as like, Pixie said what I'm doing is okay. Pixie said what I'm doing is okay. We don't care. Other people have different readings, reactions. Pixie is naive as fuck. Okay? Like, that's why Destiny fucking, you know, I won't say too much, but she said to him, I'm sexually inexperienced. I'm looking for someone who can show me the ropes, basically, according to her statement. You know? We know Pixie. I don't care what Pixie's reading of your actions was. I care what you did. Explain it to me. I want to hear you pressed on it. I don't give a fuck what Pixie thinks of it. Stop using it as a shield. It's fucking pathetic.
Position, I just understand. that's just fundamentally like not where I'm at. I'm not willing to for this specific thing, and it's also something like Pixie and I have talked about, like at some level of length. I don't know if it's meaningful, but like one thing she hasn't been asking for in part is to like cut people off. I think if she asked, I'd have to think about it. I don't know what I think. I have literally no idea. But I don't know. I guess the main thing is like, I think it's fair for you to say that you disagree with my choice to side with Steven. I think what's not fair to say, which is like spreading everywhere, is that I'm like going out of my way to like gaslight a girl, manipulate her, and to convince her to not go public and like to do Steven's dirty work, when it's like, that's such a like, it's such an unfair representation.
I don't know about convince to not go public, but she knows that she acts as like a buffer, as like a form of soft pressure, an anchor, something that keeps Pixie, you know, on track. That is, again, and this is why she fucking befriends all of the people that go against Destiny. You know what the influence is here. Max told you as much fucking 2 years ago.
Representation of me. Like I've been calling and checking in with her like every 2 days. We talk on the phone pretty often.
Wow. Now I'm convinced that you're not doing crisis management. If you're calling her constantly, you've constantly got an eye on her.
Like my whole orientation in all of this is helping her. And I guess I fundamentally believe like I think somebody like Destiny, who gets in a lot of trouble with his dick and is interpersonally, I think, really retarded, is probably...
This is the line. This is the sweeping line they're running with. He's retarded. Guys, he's just retarded, okay? He's just developmentally delayed. Okay, guys? No. We're not accepting this. We're not accepting this.
Is helping her. And I guess I fundamentally believe, like, I think somebody like Destiny, who gets in a lot of trouble with his dick and is interpersonally, I think, really retarded, is probably going to be better off with people who care about him and will like confront him on it, but also not just like drop him. But I think if other people want to drop him, like I would.
Yeah, post-Vive answers would have never happened, guys.
I wouldn't say that you're a bad person for doing that. It's just not something I'm willing to do yet. And like maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll be by my words, but I'm not doing it out of this like willy-nilly, just like 2 week.
Guys, I know he did this exact same thing in StarCraft 2. I know that he shared Blue T's nudes around in his little gay friend group. But guys, I think this time he's really going to change, okay? I think this time he's really learned his lesson.
I'm doing this out of like a decently principled stance, which is that typically like I don't give up on people. I think the argument like he's just too old. I'm like, that's fair. It's just tough because I've had so many adult clients that it's like
the reason I initially hated NotSoErudite is that she was a professional shield between Mr. Girl and Destiny in early convos when they were on good terms. Very true. Just true. Just true. She was an absolute roadblock to any real conversation back then. It was the absolute most scum, brain-dead behavior I've seen in my fucking life. It's just like wretched, enabling, shielding from any criticism. Literally just being a human shield. Just jumping in front of bullets. Try to stop the conversation every time.
I don't know. I had a lot of 45-year-olds doing a lot of stupid shit. Because like, I don't know, trauma and like problems associated with being a fucked up person don't just like go away.
Thank you for the 199.
Stephen, why had this happened? Destiny, I don't know, I kept spaffing my beans up 19 years old cunny. Even my wife left hide.
Okay, thank you for the $5. £5 rather.
Because you're older. They just like come out in different ways.
Why do you care about this guy so much when he doesn't seem to care about, I mean, anyone else, at least enough to not share their news around?
I guess because I see actually tons of markers of him caring about people and also being negligent and bad when it comes to sexual relations.
Negligent and bad.
I see tons of evidence of him caring about people.
Repeatedly violating consent.
Right, well.
Knowingly violating consent. It's not just like moved your hand past where a girl was comfortable with when you were in an intimate situation. It's, oh, I know this person doesn't want this done. I'm going to do it anyway because I enjoy it.
I think that answers most of my questions. Is there anything else you wanted to say before I end off the recording?
I guess do you feel like it is fair in this situation? I guess, what do I do about this? The entire time I've been reaching out to my friend. After the conversation I had with her the first time, she reconnected with the friend she had cut off and was willing to go and see her friends and start calling them.
She gave up on Chud because morals smile, but not destiny. So true.
I miss the lovely coloured
so
gentleman
true.
that was here yesterday.
So true. So true. God, that's true. Oh my God.
Yes. I know 109 women turned on Destiny, including his wives, but really it's not his fault.
He can have 109 relationships, no fault of his own, okay? No fault of his own, 100, okay.
More often, and basically made a commitment to like being safe. That's where we made the safety commitment as well.
Erudite has never specified her exact issue with Chud, but when people wanted Chud on anything else, when Dan floated the idea, she said, Chud will never come on, I will block him as hard as I can. And someone asked her why, and she said, morals, smile.
I'm doing my best to help my friend because I think that she was wronged here and she's done nothing wrong here. And I also confronted the friend that I think did a wrong thing.
What if he was promised he could share his sex stuff online 4,000 years ago? What if God promised him that he could that sex stuff was his to share 4,000 years ago? Well, I think maybe he'd have a case.
But I also am trying to like push and encourage him to change. I've disagreed with him and fought with him on a couple of things about being like, you should do this. You need to be doing this. I don't understand a world where like these actions lead to people going like, you're a bad human being.
Oh God. Wait. Emergency update. Keeler, guys. Wait, where's the... I need to macro this. Where is it? I can't even find it. In light of recent events, I'll be doing a special emergency episode of my call-in show, Mr. Girl Hotline, I Told You So. Saturday at 8 PM Eastern. Call in, join my Discord.
And
I think the way people
like...
see it is like you're trying to mitigate the situation with Pixie because you are financially interested in continuing your relationship with Destiny for a profit, basically. I think that's the way that a lot of people see it. Because obviously you guys have a business.
Yeah, but if that's the case, why did I say to Fairy Queen she could leave the comment up?
You're welcome. Okay, so I do with you.
Remove
awesome.
the identifying part about Pixie. Like none of my actions have been about covering for Destiny or preventing people from talking about it broadly. It's been from like all it's been about is addressing people talking about Pixie specifically. Like I've never in any world not wanted people to talk negatively broadly about even being an idiot and like negligent when it comes to like things to people's trusts in sexual dynamics. Like I've never been opposed to this. Yeah, but if that's the case, why did I say to Fairy Queen she could leave the comment up? I just asked her to remove the identifying part about Pixie. Like none of my actions have been about covering for Destiny or preventing people from talking about it broadly. It's been from like all it's been about is addressing people talking about Pixie specifically. Like I've never in any world not wanted people to talk negatively broadly about even being an idiot and like
idiots. Yeah.
Negligent when it comes
negligent. Yeah. Anything with a bit more teeth to it. Anything with a bit more of a bite. Erudite.
Like things to people's trusts in sexual dynamics. Like I've never been opposed to any being concerned about that. I don't ban like general comments and talks about it. I explicitly with Fairy Queen asked her to not talk about things that could narrow the scope of who it was, particularly because at that time, most people didn't quite know who it was.
Guys, he's interpersonally retarded. Okay, guys, he's interpersonally retarded. He's negligent. He's an idiot. Okay, guys.
I didn't look at the leaks. But when I would like listen to like Reservoir or other people, I kept hearing like, I'm not really sure who it is. I'm not really sure who it is. Even like shout out to like Kuihman, even though we kind of hate each other. He had like the good grace when he was covering this to like be pretty mindful of not making it clear who were in the leaks.
I'm glad that the attempts at good faith I try and show her are returned. Okay, I do try and show her some good faith sometimes. I'm glad. Look, listen, I accept credit. It's okay. I know. I am a really good person, Erudite. I know. I'm such a good person. Even to my enemies, even to people I hate, I do not cross certain lines. I know. I'm such a good person. I'm merciful. I'm gracious. Gracious in victory, too, most of all. Very gracious in victory, I will say. Okay.
Like, that's been my behavior the entire time.
And humble.
Nothing really
benevolent.
differs away
fair.
from that.
I mean, that's fair. That's why, you know, I obviously I don't know if you know this. I had heard about this stuff for a few weeks. I didn't really have any direct confirmation until a couple of days ago, but I had heard about this stuff going on, but I wasn't going to cover it. Firstly, because, you know, it was just an allegation.
Yeah, Christ-like, you might say. Christ-like, even. That's a good description, Kenny.
Time there was no evidence. I didn't really have any direct confirmation until a couple of days ago, but I had heard about
nothing really differs away
fair.
from that.
I mean, that's fair. That's why, you know, I obviously I don't know if you know this. I had heard about this stuff for a few weeks. I didn't really have any direct confirmation until a couple of days ago, but I had heard about this stuff going on, but I wasn't going to cover it. Firstly, because, you know, it was just an allegation at the time. There was no evidence of anything. But secondly, I was under the impression that Pixie didn't want it to get out. And then all of a sudden, I'm in the middle of streaming, and I see President Sunday and Cope and Teeth have dropped videos identifying Pixie. At which point I was like, okay, well, it's fucking out now, I guess. But, you know, and that's when she made her statement, which is interesting. Do you know why? I guess one question would be, Beckett had an original statement, it seems like, from Pixie, where she implicated kind of Dan Saltman and said that he told her not to make it public. Do you know why that was in the original one, or maybe why it was removed in the final?
I have no idea. I definitely don't talk to Dan about, like, I just have a very strict business relationship with Dan.
Okay, gotcha. But
Yeah.
you didn't talk to Pixie about maybe what
Dan don't fuck with her
she
like
may have
that.
talked to
I
Dan
didn't-
about.
That's why Dan's my guy. That's why Dan's my guy. He don't fuck with Erudite like that, okay? He don't fuck with Erudite like that. That's why he's my guy.
He told her not to make it public. Do you know why that was in the original one, or maybe why it was removed in the final?
I have no idea. I definitely don't talk to Dan about, like, I just have a very strict business relationship with Dan.
Okay, gotcha. But
Yeah.
you didn't talk to Pixie.
Dan is not just as guilty as NotSoErudite, okay? As far as I'm aware, Pixie reached out to him. He encouraged her to seek restitution, offered to get her in contact with lawyers, said, probably let's try and stop him from suing Kiwi Farms because it's going to be bad for all of us, which is true. And then said, don't KYS KD.
Pixie about maybe what she may have talked to Dan about.
I didn't actually know that was in there. I haven't, like, gone through all the videos today. I've been traveling, as you said, and I've mostly been, like, trying, like, I spent the whole morning trying to be like, is she safe? She said, because she told me originally that if she went public, or if she had to go public, she was gonna. So I like.
And then Dan's double based, okay? Dan's extra based, because what Dan did when this broke is he booked next day tickets to Australia and got the fuck out of here for the next 10 days. That's just fucking awesome.
Spent most of the morning trying to be like, how if she potentially doesn't feel like, I didn't know if she had leaked the stuff about me, so I was like, I don't know if she feels comfortable with me, but somebody needs to check on her to, like, make sure that she's safe, because, like, Sunday painted her pretty terribly, which I think, well, she confirmed to me today, made her make the public post.
Yeah, went to Spicy Chat, paid off his bets, booked tickets to Australia, and fucking left. So based.
Today to try to, like, clear her name a little bit. And this is, like, the exact thing that she said, like, if this happens, like, I am killing myself. So I spent most of the morning, to be honest, like, trying to figure out if there was any mutuals that were, like, willing to basically just, like, check on her and make that she's safe, and, like, trying and, like, going back and forth with Nick about being like, should I reach out to her? Like, I'm not really sure. Like, I'm really worried about her. I don't really want to make a public statement until I've talked to her and, like, seen where she's at. And so I spent most of the morning doing that. There luckily was a mutual friend that was able to connect with her and communicated, basically being like, hey, just so you know, like, she didn't actually leak your stuff. She's, like, feeling really bad. Probably would love to hear from you, which is why I connected with her later. So I haven't spent most of the day, like, going through all the content on it. I asked Nick to do that. I've spent most of the day, like, trying to figure out where she's at, what's going on. And then something about, like, this cherry stuff dropped, and I've been trying to figure out, like, what's going on there, because it would probably change. It could change, like, how I feel about business going forward, depending on, like, what's occurred.
Cherry. I actually haven't seen this Cherry thing now. Do you know what her Twitter ad is? I assume that's where she posted it.
Oh.
Cherry. It's like the CHAERY Cherry or something, right?
Yes.
She said, these adults who are financially tied, business partners, having the audacity to involve themselves, should not be allowed to pass judgment or question the behavior of others unreciprocated. You are not naive. You're not autistic. And she's showing a DM from StraightArray, which says, nice. Kyla's being snaky about this. Pixie contacted her and was kind of trying to use her as a liaison. I told her Kyla can't be trusted to help with that. Dan contacted Pixie a couple of weeks ago as well, according to what she told me.
That's true. And if Erudite was actually trying to do the best thing for Pixie, she would actually have said to Pixie, you probably shouldn't trust me to be the liaison. I have a very close business relationship with the person you're talking about. You probably shouldn't trust me to do this. If Erudite was truly acting in Pixie's best interest, that would be the first thing she said to her.
He basically said, ask Steven for a reasonable amount of money and he'll probably pay it, and wanted to convince her, and wanted her to convince him to not take legal actions against KF, which he's considering. That's what StraightArray had said, implying
no, we will not be putting Dan in prison with NotSoErudite and Destiny. We will not be putting Dan in Dan's not going to prison. I will not allow it. Okay.
And then include some other clips and different screenshots as well in this thread. Do you have any comment on that StraightArray DM?
It really sucks. Like I thought I was friends with StraightArray, so super sucks to know that she's just like thinking I've been snaky the whole time. I don't know. I don't know. It's mostly really sad. It's really sad that StraightArray sent these DMs.
Oh, thank you for the 1337. Hugely appreciated. Thank you. Let me see who that was. Mohipans. Thank you. Thank you.
Like against Pixie's consent to like probably my biggest internet harasser.
Was he considering taking legal action against Kiwi Farms? That's kind of being implied here.
Oh wait, is that Sunday? Her biggest internet harasser.
I don't know. It's mostly really sad. It's really sad that StraightArray sent these DMs like against Pixie's consent to like probably my biggest internet harasser.
Was he considering taking legal action against Kiwi Farms? That's kind of being implied here.
New Twitter bio? New Twitter bio? Oh, it's Sunday's banned from Twitter, isn't he? New YouTube bio? NotSoErudite's biggest harasser?
Well, the DM from StraightArray says, sorry, let me just send you a screenshot of it. This is what Cherry has. I
haven't seen this newest Cherry post yet.
Okay, it says, according to what she told me, he basically said, ask Steven for a reasonable amount of money and he'd probably pay it, and wanted her to convince...
I can't remember how Sunday got himself banned from Twitter. I forget.
It's him to not take legal actions against KF, which he's considering. So this is implying Steven's considering taking legal action against Kiwi Farms. Can you talk about that at all or no?
I haven't heard her mention any legal action about Kiwi Farms. I really only talked to Pixie and Steven.
I think this is implying wanted her to convince him not to take legal action. So I think the implication is he wanted to take legal action against Kiwi Farms.
Steven did?
Yeah, that's what this DM would be implying.
I'm not really sure. There's, to be honest, when all this stuff drops, Steven and I also have a bit of a line of like, I'm not talking to him about like a lot of the legal stuff, so I'm not sure who he's suing specifically. I'm not really sure.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I don't think there's anything new regarding you.
Yeah. I guess, can I ask?
From this thread. Yeah.
Do you still think that I was trying
wait, he didn't play the clip. Tom's such an idiot. He missed the clip in the second tweet. He missed the clip. God, fuck. Where is it? We have to play it. We have to play it for completion, okay? Cherry had an awesome clip in this tweet.
Steven is like a really, really good person. Like a lot of people think that the only reason I'm friends with him is because of like the personal benefits that I have. And that's actually in part why I never go on his stream, is because I'm worried that he and others will feel like the only reason I'm friends with him is because of what I can gain. But I just think he's a like deeply good person, even though he's a very flawed person as well. And he's a much better person than he gives himself credit for. And it makes me sad because he'll just like take other people talking like pretty horribly about him. And he's like, I mean, yeah, I have lots of flaws. And he'll just like own it. And I'm like, bro, if you were literally anybody else who's more shitty than you would be like demanding that people like see your side more. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. Obviously he's like a good friend of mine, but I think Steven doesn't advocate for even how wonderful of a person he is. When I say good, I don't mean like no flaws. I don't mean perfect. I mean, there's lots of flaws, but there's like a striving and an intentionality to try to see like improvement there. And maybe he hasn't always been that way, but since I've been interacting, I see like this intentionality to try to take responsibility and like to try to self-improve. And like, goddamn, there's not a lot of people that are trying as hard as Steven is. And I don't know, I just really appreciate that about him and other people.
Yeah, I think it's just, I struggle because good is vague. If you were going to ask me, like, is Steven kind? I would actually say, yeah, in a lot of ways he is. Like, that's an easy one for me to define and, like, know what examples of that would look like as someone who behaves like that.
Make her be quiet despite, like, me explicitly not shutting down conversation. I can even look through her DMs. I think I say to Pixie multiple times in other DMs, like, explicitly, like, whatever you like whatever you would like to do. If you'd like to go public, you can go public. Like, I don't know. It's just like,
I mean, I can't really read your mind. So based on the DMs, it doesn't seem that you were trying to get her to not go public or go public. But I mean, you know, obviously because of your
I wasn't weighing
relationship. What'd you say?
Like when you have somebody who's going through trauma, and this is like what I also told her, like, if you're going through this, like, you get to steer the ship. Like, one of the biggest things of betrayal is that somebody took away consent from you. So you get to steer the ship. If you want to stay private, we stay, like, I take your lead from that. If you want to go public, I'm going to follow up with you and say, like, what do you feel comfortable with me saying? What do you want me to talk about? She gets to steer the ship. Like, I don't know, it's just frustrating because I'm like, I guess, like, you can ask Pixie, but, like, I can even look for DMs. It's like, the opposite is true. I not only, like, wasn't pressuring her to be quiet, I was explicitly not pressuring her to do anything except for whatever she would like to do.
Based on all the messages I've seen, it doesn't seem like you were pressuring her to stay quiet. Yes. Correct. Okay. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, this cherry thread seems to be mostly just stuff that everybody's already seen, but
and so I guess when you say, like, you can't take me seriously, I guess I'm just like, I don't know how to take that. Like, do you basically think that, like, everyone should disavow Destiny? Like, should he be basically fully canceled? Do you think, like, even though I've done like, my entire orientation with him behind the scenes has been like, I can give you receipts of this as well from, like, way back in the day where I was, like, messaging him, like, telling him he was wrong.
I don't know. I guess it's just like, to me, it's like, how do you take someone seriously as a political commentator when, like, he's unconsensually sending people's nudes around? I guess I find.
So okay, this is a retarded point. This is a dumb point from Tom. How do you take someone seriously as a political commentator when they're sharing people's nudes around? Oh, well, I don't think that your personal, like, behavioral issues have that much to do with, like, a rationally thought out politics position, right? If you can create a rational, logical justification for a position in politics that stands on its own, regardless of your personal behavior, right? Because it's just a good argument on its own. However, the issue is that a lot of the time, Destiny, how do I give a fuck? I don't want to hear Destiny talk about Andrew Tate. I don't want to hear Destiny talk about Trump's rape case. I don't want to hear Destiny talk about feminism. Exactly, yeah, good example. I don't want to hear Destiny talk about consent, I understand that there are people who watch Destiny purely for his politics content because they agree with the things he says. They think he has a good way of breaking down other people's arguments and stuff. That's totally reasonable. I don't think you've got, like, some moral impetus to not watch Destiny content anymore. However, obviously, now, if he ever wants to talk about, like, relationship shit, why the fuck am I listening to you? You're a fucking psycho. Why am I listening to you about relationships? Why am I listening to you about consent? What the fuck? You're crazy. You're literally an insane person.
I find it hard to take someone seriously in that position.
I think that's fair, right? But this is like, can you trust his political content going forward? Which is valid. I think that's probably an important business question for us to, like, answer.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't trust anyone. It should be about, whether they make a coherent, rational argument that aligns with the facts, right? You shouldn't trust the political content anyway, really.
I think that's fair, right? But this is like, can you trust his political content going forward? Which is valid. I think that's probably an important business question for us to, like, answer. But I don't know, like, why that implicates my character.
Well, I mean, we work with him. Like, he is the reason why you exist. He's the whole reason for your, business partnership, for like Bridges podcast, like all of that shit is, like, because of him, right? Like,
I agree.
You're an extension of the Destiny community. The guy running the community is messaging e-girls from his community nudes of other girls from his community that he's like farming. Which actually brings me to another thing that I guess I wanted to talk about, which is something I was just looking into. So I saw this post. This is from a year ago on the Destiny subreddit. This is from February 21st, 2024. It says, I'll send you the post right here. It says, Destiny addressing the canvassing complaints just to address them. It says there's a conversation between Jacob, Lonerbox, NotSoErudite, and Destiny on the complaints raised.
So I've spoken to where Tom got the idea for this question from. Apparently he misunderstands the point they were trying to make here, so we're going to see how he handles this.
There's some women in the canvassing event about being constantly hit on by the guys taking part in it, not being able to just exist without being approached by them, which can cause them to potentially not participate in future events. Destiny introduced very early on in the conversation the idea that any gender-centric space will inherently push away the other gender, regardless of what's done to make it accessible. He says, if it starts with 1 female and 9 males...
Now that Destiny's lost his bridge to mainstream, I'm going to watch more Destiny content, actually. Well, I mean, yeah, I would probably end up watching... If Destiny's, like, just on a self-destructive spiral because he's lost his mainstream appeal, realizes he's in the gutter forever and just decides to engage like he's in the gutter, I'll probably watch more Destiny content because of that as well. But, I mean, is that a good decision? Is his life going to go in a good direction if he does that? I mean,
should never grow.
Is Erudite going to have a job if he does that?
Regardless of what's done to make it accessible. He says, if it starts with 1 female and 9 males, it should never grow past that 1%. Yeah, the conversation continued, bouncing the idea of Bumble law where guys would be prohibited from asking women out unless they ask them first, and consider telling participants to keep it professional, like in a work setting. Both of them were shut down. Essentially, I guess what I'm kind of getting at here is it seems like this is an old thread regarding sexual harassment complaints, I guess, or weird conversation complaints with women at a DGG canvassing event. In the leaks, there are 2 videos involving Pixie. There's one that's solo, and a threesome with another orbiter, which is straight arrayed. People are claiming, basically, based on the evidence, that at least one of those videos occurred during a...
Is that even true? Is straight arrayed actually in one of these? I thought this was, like, not...
and a threesome with another orbiter, which complaints, I guess, or, weird conversation complaints with women at a DGG canvassing event. In the leaks... There are 2 videos involving Pixie. There's one that's solo, and a threesome with another orbiter, which is straight arrayed.
It's not on the timeline, doesn't add up at all. What? Because Destiny wouldn't have known Eren at that point, because he met her at that college campus. So we know when they first interacted. Yeah, I don't think it's Eren. Yeah. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the videos would have had to have been recorded before they met. Yeah.
People are claiming, basically, based on the evidence, that at least one of those videos occurred during a canvassing event. The link in this Reddit post right here, if you click it, it leads to a stream where you and Destiny are talking about the harassment claims, and it seems like Destiny didn't want to make overt rules about flirting with co-canvassers. And people... Yeah, shocking factual inaccuracy from Turkey Tom. That never happens. Never usually happens. Very rare occurrence. We just saw one of those rare whoopsies. That's okay. I'm such an asshole, man. People are kind of speculating.
Tom's trying his best.
This is happening is because he'd no longer be able to use canvassing events as vehicles to have sex with fans and orbiters. This, to me, is tying into this greater idea of like fucking fans is one thing, but like he's fucking fans and then unconsensually sending videos of fans to other fans and is at the canvassing events, which is part of his political thing. So it's like it's all kind of wrapped up. So I guess I'm just like, once again, this like leads into like my whole thing about like taking it seriously, right? It's like, what is going on here? What's going on with Pixie? Like, it's not like you can just divorce like these 2 ideas. Like, this is the political commentary. This is what is going on here. Like, this is all tied up in his content, in his canvassing events.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to go back to like your initial statement, which is like I'm an extension of the community. I guess I don't like I have a podcast with him. I'm not an extension of Steven.
Okay, Z-Dubs, you're saying that. Nobody else intelligent that I've seen is saying that's confirmed. So I literally the whole time I never denied it was Pixie while it was unconfirmed. I simply avoided talking about it. But I've not seen anyone intelligent say that it's confirmed. I've seen a lot of people that are smart enough to analyze this stuff say it's probably not the case. So forgive me for not believing Z-Dubs is fucking retard in chat. But yeah, I'm just going to not say that it's Erin because I don't believe that to be the case.
I disagree with him regularly. When we have interpersonal disagreements, I handle it privately. I have no idea if.
Thank you for the $5, Nate. Huge appreciate it. So Destiny wasn't actually mad that DG was weird to women at the canvassing events. He was mad they were stepping on his turf.
With, in fact, if they're talking about Ohio, I'm pretty dubious. I'm pretty sure I was around because those two were.
Hey, Z-Dubs, you are not just confidently wrong, but being an annoying smug prick about it, so you can be hidden from the channel forever. Goodbye.
Working like with me on that event. I'm pretty dubious that it was taken. I don't know for sure. I wasn't there, obviously. I have no idea, and I don't know. I didn't even know that this leak existed. I guess I haven't looked at them. I genuinely would be very suspect that it was taken at the canvassing event, just because of like how often I was with both of them, and then all three of them, like in like public spaces. Pixie and Erin had like each had their own rooms. Like Erin was sharing a room with multiple people. Like it was a full streamer house. And the one night that I remember, like Steven like hanging out like with just a few creators alone, he was hanging out with Jasmine, Jafar, and Irrelevant. Like they were just like talking. I think they just went back to his thing to talk. And I think maybe Lauren De Laguna went as well. Okay. So if it happened maybe the day after, I'm not really sure. But I'm pretty sure I would be very surprised. Like, I don't know when they found time. If I'm being honest, they were working like all day. So,
okay. So you don't think it was happening at the canvassing events?
I don't know. I'm very dubious that it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think the intention here was less to ask about whether she happened at the specific canvassing events, because I don't think the timeline even adds up for that. I think the point that Tom was meant to kind of get at here when he was given this question was why was Destiny so adamant that flirting had to stay at these events? You know, do you not see this as a bit of a weird behavior given everything we're seeing? Do you think it's a bit risky for some of the people that attend these events? Maybe if a girl trusts Destiny and then ends up getting recorded at one of these events, I think that'd be a problem. That's the sort of thing I think that was supposed to edge towards.
All right. Well, that was the last specific thing I wanted to talk about. To conclude my opinion, yes, I don't think that you were trying to keep Pixie silent, based on what I've seen. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, people will come out with some other thing that I haven't seen that will show me that, but that does not seem to be the case to me. So if that's what your goal was with convincing me personally, and probably a lot of the audience by extension, I think you did succeed in that. You know, obviously beyond that point, people will probably criticize you for associating with Destiny at all, but yeah, I think that's about all there is to that. Is there anything else you want to say before I end the recording?
No, I guess mostly I appreciate you giving me the time to listen to me. I would appreciate if people I don't know, it feels very icky to always be viewed as just like this necessary extension of Steven. I don't like this idea that if I'm friends with somebody, that means I'm agreeing with all of his actions and behaviors. I think there are some things that are non-negotiable, but I like acting like these things are objectively agreed upon, and that everyone just knows what these are. I think is pretty unfair. I think the way that people have responded to Pixie, smearing her and trying to paint her as an extortionist, has been really gross.
Yeah, shout out President Sunday.
Yeah. I think first and foremost, the most important thing, even when you're making this, is to just be mindful. If there's anything that I say that you're don't know if that will cast Pixie in a bad light, I prefer it's excluded. And I guess, I don't know, the disproportionate level of hatred and vitriol that I feel I've been getting for staying silent when the victim asked me to, telling my friend that he was wrong, and trying to mitigate a solution for the friends, and then stepping back when that solution wasn't working and they were going to legal things.
She literally has been, it's not about just not going public with the fucking story, you silly bitch. She was in her AMA the other week saying how much of an amazing person he is, and how it's not his problems, it's people's problems with him. That was literally a couple of weeks ago, when she already knew all this stuff. It's about your constant public defense. It's not just the association. It's a constant, dishonest public defense.
I just don't know what else people are expecting from me, especially as most people who believe in rehabilitative justice, I suppose. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Dude.
But I guess it is.
Yeah, to rehabilitate you to actually accept you've done something wrong.
I'm doing my best to try to live by my principles.
Wow.
Okay.
Principles being get money for Incel Ranch. Erudite carefully draws a moral lines around anything that affects a career or business. Wow. Thank you for the 199. Yeah, dude. You believe in a nationwide justice system that focuses on rehabilitation, so it's okay that I swept and tried to cover up a sex crime while a dumb bitch. I don't necessarily agree with that framing. However, it is a good point that identifies the how retarded her argument is.